Hampshire Candlepin Bowling presents the 1991 Labatt Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championships, brought to you by Labatt Brewers of Canada. Well, welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Metro Candlepin Bowling. My name is Gary Ross, and I'll be your host for this evening's show. I have once again as my co-host Bill Hearn. And Bill, I understand we have some exciting bowling for our viewers tonight.
Oh, Kansas, we've got the greatest bowling in the world right here tonight at Heather Lanes. We've got the New Hampshire All-Stars and the Cape Breton Air Atlantics. They're going to be playing off in the semi-finals for the left division, Kansas, and looks like a very, very tremendous night here. We've got the New Hampshire All-Stars led by high average Tim Lipke and perennial strong team, the Merchants led by Tony Leblanc, who was finished very well in the averages with 133 average, and we're looking for big, big scores tonight.
Yes, and just for our viewers out there, this is going to be a three-string match, and the total of 3 strings combined for each team, the winner with the highest total will advance to the finals in our left division. And with that, we're going to get the bowlers up, and we're going to get them started away. And we'll have bowling for Cape Breton Air Atlantics, Kansas Snow. And Bill, you can hear the crowd back there.
Kansas, I don't know if the folks will be able to hear us back home, but if they're, sit back, get the popcorn and the diet pop out, and get set to enjoy probably the greatest match ever bowled in Cape Breton, Gary.
That's for sure. And Kansas Snow right off the top, right on the top pin, and he leaves the 7-10 with some deadwood, very possible spare.
Okay, 8-pin drop, Gary, but Kansas wants to do is get high on the left-hand side of that deadwood and push the other flatwood over.
Well, his opponent, Mike Coleman, over in lane 9, bowling for New Hampshire, left 4 in the corner. But Kansas shooting for spare here, and not where he wants to hit it, Bill, I don't think.
A good try, Gary, who's a little to the right. Now Mike throws down on a 6-pin drop and takes the front 2 pins off.
So both bowlers playing for 10. And Kansas looks like he'll have to settle for a 9.
Kansas gets his 9, as you said, Gary. Then there's Mike Coleman, who's the owner of a career-high triple of 477, capping off his with a 9.
So 9s are wild in her first frame. Kansas get up here, second frame. First ball coming up. And right back in the top pin, and a little extra push on that ball, Bill, and he gets that 10-pin to go.
Okay, Gary, beautiful ball by Kansas, 9-pin drop, and Mike Coleman followed up a good hit on the head pin, a little light, and he left the 5 diamond-shaped break in the corner. So Kansas
playing for spare here.
He's down.
Oh, no good.
In the channel for a 9, Gary. Okay, Mike spares up his, Kansas, and advantage right now New Hampshire.
Yes, New Hampshire draws first blood here with a big spare. So now getting up for Cape Breton Air Atlantics in lane 10 is Ali Ross, and his opponent, bowling in lane 9, will be Bill Gover.
Okay, Gary, Ali Ross, Cape Breton boy. He's living in Halifax now, working for one of the banks up there. Ali's lifetime high triple is 444. And he's down on the head pin, 7-pin drop, 8-pin drop, 9-pin drop.
And his opponent, also on the top pin, 8-pin break with some deadwood. So 2 very possible spares here.
Ali shooting at the 6-pin, Gary. He's very accurate on single pins. He's down and takes it home. Okay, Bill Gover, same thing. Spares up the 8-pin drop, Gary.
Well, both number 2 bowlers open up with spares. And you can feel the excitement back there with the crowd. The crowd is really into this match.
The crowd has been on pins and needles for the past 20 minutes, Gary, waiting for this match to go. I think they're more excited than probably the bowlers are. You could hear the opening introduction, how they went wild, and now Ali's getting set to roll on his spare. Down the center, in the pocket, and an 8-pin drop, Gary.
Well, Bill misses a top pin, but he leaves the 4 horsemen, a very makeable spare break for Bill over in lane 9. But Ali's going to have to shoot the wood here if he would like a spare here in lane 10, Bill.
I think you probably see Ali maybe go out in the right-hand tip of the shot, Gary, and try to get that deadwood to spin around. Hey, no, he didn't. No. Well, played the 7-pin with the ball, Gary. Bill Gover makes a valiant try on the 4 horsemen, Gary. He takes out the 1, 3, and 6-pin and leaves the 7-pin standing.
How many times do you see that? Looks like a perfect hit, and it just leaves a stubborn pin in the corner. So he'll have to settle for a 10, 26 after 2 frames, but his opponent, Ali Ross, starts out spare 8 on it, spares it up 28 plus a ball after 2 frames. Now getting up to 3rd place bowlers in lane 10 for Cape Breton Air Atlantics, Ray Macisaac. And his opponent, bowling in lane 9, will be Brian Uphold.
Okay, Gary, Ray, a resident of Waterford. He's been bowling for the last 20 years or so. Ray fires down and picks out the 3-pin and the 9-pin. We have Brian Uphold throwing. Brian bowls out of Park Place Lanes in Londonderry Bowling Centre in New Hampshire, Gary. He's got a 7-pin drop.
Well, Ray's off the top pin also with a second ball, and Ray's going to have to throw a good ball here for a 9 or 10.
Well,
meanwhile, his opponent over there in lane 9 has a makeable spare shot. He can split those top 2 pins.
Okay, there goes Gary. Just a little touch in the head. But I think what Ray was trying to do, Gary, the experienced bowler that he was trying to stay away from a bad box, not go in the hole, and leave himself with a possible 2. Yes. Which he got an 8, which is not going to hurt him very much. Okay, Brian uphold throwing for the 10. And dingo, he's got a good 9 there.
We'll also mention to our viewing public out there that first place in this competition is worth $10,000. So they're not bowling for no small potatoes there, that's for sure.
The boys are looking at a lot of money, Gary. Here's Ray concentrating, bearing down. Throws on the front pin, 8-pin drop.
Well, it wasn't long ago we seen that break.
What the folks are calling this, Gary, that's they're called 1 in Bangor and 1 in Brewer.
Yes.
Yeah.
But his opponent, Brian, over in lane 9, right on the top pin, leaves a clover leaf in the corner. So Ray Macisaac, difficult shot, and Brian uphold a bit of an easy shot.
Well, I don't know if we can ever call the triangle shot easy, Gary, but if he splits the front 2, then he should have the triangle. Ray is going to go out in the right-hand tip of that deadwood, Gary, and see if he can't get a spin, but very difficult. Good try, Ray, good try. Now he'll go for the short 9 and hope that Brian doesn't count too heavily. And there we go. So it looks so easy, Gary, doesn't it?
Yes, well, I tell you, Bill, when you get into the caliber bowlers these guys are, they don't miss those shots too often, as we'll see in their upcoming weeks of competition. As the bowling here is just incredible. And they'll bring up in lane 10 will be Tony Leblanc bowling for Cape Breton Air Atlantics, and bowling for New Hampshire All-Stars will be Steve Vadney.
That's right, Gary. Steve is another bowler that bowls out of Wyndham, New Hampshire, Park Place Lanes, and Tony Leblanc is one of Kansas Snow's imports. He's from the Moncton Fair Lanes, and you can see why Kansas has Tony on the team. Tony's the owner of the high single for this week, Gary. He's scored a 192 single. Was the high single for the tournament. And Tony just gobbles up those single pins, Gary.
Oh, nice shot. Very nice shot, Bill. Very nice pairs.
Beautiful shot by Steve Vadney. Beautiful shot. 5-pin drop and pins all over the place. Paired it just like he.
Well, Tony Leblanc here in lane 10, I've been watching him all week, and very seldom he misses that top pin. And when he hits it, I tell you, he gets a lot of 9-pin breaks and a lot of strikes.
There's Tony firing down on the front one. 8-pin drop, 9-pin drop. Steve is right behind him, Gary. Another 9-pin drop, and I think this is going to be the trend for the whole night, Gary.
Yes.
8-pin, 9-pin breaks, strikes. Great bowling. I think we'll find both teams, Gary. I'll go out on a limb and make a prediction, but I think you'll see both teams way over 600.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Tony Leblanc starts off as Ali Ross did with 2 marks.
Okay, and his opponent, Steve Vadney, Gary, he's going to do the same thing. He's open 9 on his spare and capped it off with another one. So he's 29 open.
Now getting up here in lane 10 for Cape Breton Air Merchants is Timmy Kerrigan. And getting up in lane 9 for New Hampshire All-Stars will be Tim Lipke. And 2 very explosive bowlers here, Bill.
Gary, we don't have enough edge to describe either one of these bowlers. Tim Lipke is the high average bowler for the World Championship Tournament here in Sydney in 1991. Tim Kerrigan was out unable to make it the first day because of employment. Oh, there's Timmy Lipke throwing down a strike, Gary, and you can see how pumped up he is.
And I tell you, you'll probably see Tim Lipke throw a lot of strikes in this match, as he does throw a lot of strikes. He has that explosive ball. Tim Kerrigan, hey, he averaged for the tournament 131.1.
131.1, Gary, and it's also hard to believe, but Tim Lipke had an average of 134.1.
Just incredible.
Which means every game he's bowling at least 402. Just amazing. Here's Timmy throwing down, making his 9.
Well, Timmy Kerrigan will look to be back on the top pin here as his opponent opens up with that big strike. Timmy wants to be open here himself as we have almost completed 2 frames of our opening match. As we stated, this is a 3-string affair. So a lot of bowling left to come here.
Okay, Gary, Timmy going into his second box. He's set to deliver, throws the ball down in the alley smoothly. And 5-pin drop. Deadwood helps with 6. 7-pin break, Gary. Timmy fires. And there's a double strike, Gary.
As I stated, Bill, you'll see a lot of strikes from Tim Lipke, as he is a strike bowler.
Just amazing, incredible bowler, Gary. Several years ago, we were in the World Championships in the Bangor, Maine, Charlie Brewer's Bangor house, and we were unfortunate enough to bowl Tim in just the same circumstance, Gary, the quarterfinals, and he had a 458 against our team.
Just unbelievable. When he gets hot, when Tim Lipke gets hot, he can almost carry a team on his shoulders. There's no doubt about that.
He can do just that, Gary. He can roll 150, 160 every game and put you so far behind the... Okay, now we've got changed lanes. We've got New Hampshire on the right, and we've got Cape Breton Air Merchants on the left.
Well, Mike Poulin getting up here in lane 10. He started out with a 9 his first frame, but he's open on the spears. He got a spear in the second frame. He's bowling on that hair. Right on the top pin. He gets a nice count of 7, leaves the cloverleaf. Very makeable shot.
7-pin drop, Gary. 7-pin drop, and we've saw the way the boys reading up the spares. Kansas not to be outdone. Throws down, has a 9-pin drop with a good cover at Deadwood, Gary.
Well, as we recall, in the back in the second frame, Kansas had a 9-pin break, and he did not get it. It would have been a big 9 on it, so he'd be looking to cover this one. Mike Poulin great on that cloverleaf. Spear in the third.
And Kansas right behind, capping off the shot, Gary.
So Mike Poulin, open on the spare. Back on the top pin once again. What a rotten break.
Terrible break, but a good count. 7-pin drop, a good count. And there's Kansas close behind with a 9-pin drop, and more importantly, another spare setup.
Yes. With that 9 on it, Kansas 37 after 3 frames. Oh, nice try by Mike Poulin.
Okay, Mike Poulin. They'll just throw down for the Deadwood and make it basic 9. Whoa. Kansas submarines the ball, Gary. He puts it into the approach, and as you saw, it went south.
Yes, it almost looks like Kansas stuck there on the approach. But it's still a ball delivered, so he'll be playing for 10 here.
Unfortunate break for Kansas Snow, Gary. He seems to have some trouble with the slide, possibly, like I say, his shoe dug in.
Well, with that 9 Mike Poulin got, he's 52 after 4 frames. And with that 10 Kansas Snow picks up, he's 47 after 4 frames.
And Kansas gets a nice round of applause just for coming back and picking up that pin. It must be very upsetting to him.
Well, that brings Bill Gover up in lane number 10, bowling for New Hampshire All-Stars. He's 26 after 2 frames. But his opponent, Ali Ross, started out with spear 8 on another spear, so... Ali's been looking to load up on his spear.
And he throws a strike. Doesn't take long, Gary.
Definitely not.
Ali delivers, he's down, and he takes out 2 on the left, Gary. 2-pin and 8-pin. Very unfortunate.
Well, with that 2 on it, Ali's 30 after 2 frames. But more importantly, his opponent, Bill Gover, big strike in the 3rd frame, and he'll be looking for double time here.
Gary, these boys throw the strike so often that it's hard to keep up with them, really. I have sympathy for our scorekeeper, J.C. Campbell, tonight.
The thing is, New Hampshire, if they get a big lead in this match, they might take the crowd out of this a little bit. As the crowd is a home crowd, and they're rooting for, no doubt, they're rooting for the Cape Breton team.
Oh, I think, Gary, that the crowd will stay behind their boys pretty good. There's a lot of good chuckers on the Cape Breton Air Atlantic team, and they'll be coming back. There's Ali coming back with an 8-pin drop. Not the best break he got there. He's got a 3-pin and a 7-pin. It'd be a hard cut over to the left-hand side, but we've seen Ali make these shots before.
Well, Bill Gover, 5 in the 7. He's going to try to cut that 5 over. Nice try.
Oh,
big count of 9 on the strike.
Hard to go around with 9 on a mark, Gary.
That's for sure.
Okay, here's Ali throwing down on the object pin, and a good try. Bill Gover shooting for 10, and a little to the left, and ends up with a 9 box.
Well, with that 9, 54 after 4 frames for Bill Gover. Ali settles for a 10 with that 10, 49 after 4 frames. That'll bring Brian Uphold bowling in lane number 10. Currently, Brian is 19 plus a ball after 2 frames. His opponent, Ray Macisaac, 17 after 2 frames.
Okay,
so Brian's open.
There. Goes down a 6-pin drop, Gary, but a miserable break.
Yes, just not a bad count on spear, but that is a terrible break. He left a 4, 7, the 5, and a 10-pin. Virtually impossible shot, but if anybody can make it, it would be the bowlers bowling on here tonight. That's for sure.
Okay, Gary, in the meantime, Ray Macisaac is bowled. He was heavy on the 3-pin and took 5 off the side. He's left with the 1-pin, the 2-pin, the 4, the 7, and the 10. Very difficult shot.
I would think Brian here in lane 10, Bill, he'd probably play the 2 in the corner.
The only question about that, Gary, is he going to play the 4-pin on the outside to make it off the kickback, or is he going to try a fine split and try to send the pin across? And there he goes. And a good try. Ray delivers on the front one, and that's why that's such a difficult shot. Put the ball right in the pocket and still come up very, very late.
Well, the 4 Horsemen is a tough shot in itself. When you leave that trailer on the other side, it makes it even that much tougher.
Yeah, and scale of different. Oh. And Ray almost makes a fantastic 10.
Well, Ray ends up with 9. With that 9, 26 after 3 frames. But Brian, with his 8, 33 after 3 frames. So Brian will be looking to be open here, as will Ray.
Okay, a hard thrower, Gary. Hard throwing right-hander. Takes out the middle. Here's an opportunity for Ray Macisaac to capitalize now. He's on the front one, and a big strike. And we can hear the roar from the crowd, Gary. So like I mentioned, the crowd will stay behind their guys right to the end here. And they'll have a lot to cheer about.
Yes. Big strike for Ray Macisaac. With that strike, 36 plus 2 balls after 4 frames. Brian Uphold here. He's basically playing for a 9.
Okay,
and
there's Brian.
He ends up with an 8. With that 8, 41 after 4 frames.
Okay, now we've got Steve Vadney and Tony Leblanc coming up.
Tony Leblanc, he opened up with spare 9 spare, as did Steve Vadney, spare 9 spare.
All tied up after 2, these two gentlemen, Gary, and they're both hard-throwing guys, and you'll look for them to be on the front pin as well. Steve taking a little practice 5, making sure everything's okay. Getting set, he's in the approach. Here's the release. Down the center, on the head pin, and an 8-pin drop, a 9-pin drop. 9-pin drop. That'll put some pressure on Tony Leblanc, Gary.
Well, Tony has to be perfect if he wants a better 9 on it. He's on the top pin, a bit of a tough break. He gets a 3-2 split, but he has Deadwood coming up, possible spear shot.
That Deadwood gives him an option. Now he can play it on the left or on the right. Steve is down, bang.
These guys don't miss many 9-pin breaks.
I think they've missed 2 this week, Gary. That's about all. And there's Tony Leblanc. What a fine try. What a fine try. It's amazing how those pins can stay up in the middle of the isn't it?
Well, Tony will play for 10. And he has a 10.
Very accurate.
With that 10, 44 after 3 frames. But his opponent, Steve Vadney, is 48 plus a ball. He's open right here, and he'd be looking to load up once again as he started out with 3 9-pin breaks, and he's converted every one.
Any one of these guys bowling can throw 10 marks in a row, Gary. Tremendous ability, every one. The world best, Gary. That's what we're looking here tonight, the world best. Tony Leblanc delivers. She's down on the head pin. And bingo, there goes another one.
Well, that's what they call a 10-timer.
Yeah.
With that strike, Tony 54 plus 2 balls after 4 frames. His opponent, Steve Vadney, with a 9-63 after 4 frames.
Okay, Steve is 23 pins over par, Gary, and just humming right along. One thing about Tony Leblanc strikes, you can never tell which pin goes first or which goes last. They're just huge crashers.
As soon as the ball hits, 10 of them are in the pit.
Okay,
but Tim Lipke getting up here. He's open on a double strike, and what a big ball coming up here.
Okay, here's the delivery. He throws, and he's off to the side. Gets a 6-pin drop. Timmy Kerrigan, an 8-pin drop, and Timmy's looking to pick up some ground here, Gary. Well, okay, Tim Lipke not happy with himself, Gary. He was wide on the right on that ball, and normally he crashes the head pin. And a beautiful shot.
Big spear, Tim Lipke.
Timmy delivers on the object pin, and down goes his. One thing about Tim Lipke, Gary, he's an overpowering bowler, but also he's what we call a finesse bowler. He can make a fine shot, so he doesn't just depend on a crashing first ball.
Well, Tim Lipke, as you stated, 134.1 average, high average for the tournament. And we're seeing a reason why right here. Tim Lipke, big count of 9 on it. As Timmy Kerrigan also got 9 on his pair.
Timmy got away. He threw Gary knocked down 9, put the heat on Timmy Lipke, and Timmy answered the call by throwing 9 of his own spare. Timmy Kerrigan bowling, spares up his. Tim Lipke throwing down and converts his. Timmy, in a nice international gesture, Gary, he brought down American flag pins. We've all seen people covet pins. We've done it through the Jou Canada Games and the rest of it. Timmy brought down American pins, the Stars and Stripes, and gave one to every bowler he bowled against.
Well, that was a very nice gesture on his part. But Tim Lipke, with that spare, 75 plus a ball after 4 frames. And Timmy Kerrigan with that spare, 48 plus a ball. But getting up here now in lane 10, Kansas now currently 47 after 4 frames. His opponent, Mike Poulin, 52 after 4 frames. So Kansas will be looking for America 2 right here.
Okay, here's Kansas throwing a lovely smooth ball, drops down 8-pin drop. Gary leaves a 4 and a 7.
Well, Kansas has been on the top pin. His nemesis has been the 9-pin break. He's missed 2 9-pin breaks in 4 frames.
That's right, Gary. And Mike Poland throws down. He's got a 6-pin drop, 3 and 1, but he's got a deadwood to give him some extra coverage, so he's got a shot that he can make as well. Chance is wide on the right, Gary.
Oh, misses that 8-pin break.
Mike Poland makes a fine try and looking at a 10. And Kansas makes a 10, Gary, but in between he had a little shake of his head there, and he's not happy with himself right now.
Definitely not. Well, with that 10, Kansas is 57 after 5 frames. Mike Poland with his 10, 62 after 5 frames. And Kansas, as we stated, right on the top pin. He could pick up one of his breaks or two. He could very well be 20 or 25 pins over the frame.
Okay, here's Kansas again, and an 8-pin drop and a 9-pin drop. Needs this one to boost his confidence now, Gary. Mike Poland throws down, Gary, and possibly the worst break we can get. The 5-pin, the 7-pin, and the 10-pin. No deadwood.
Virtually impossible shot.
And Kansas converts his spare. And he brings the fat crowd to his feet, Gary.
Well, I think with Kansas making that spare, Kansas is going to be away. And what a try there by Mike Poland.
Mike Poland takes the 5 and the 10, and had he got a little kick on the side kick handles, Gary could have possibly spared that one. But like you say, it was almost an unmakeable shot. And just about pull the rabbit out of the hat. And it's not smoke and mirrors they're using either. And a beautiful 10.
Nice 10.
Beautiful 10. Okay.
With that 10, Mike Poland, 73 after 6 frames. Ali Ross getting up here in lane 10, currently 49 after 4 frames. His opponent, Bill Gover, 54 after 4 frames.
Okay, Ali missed a little to the left, but got a 6-pin drop, Gary. Okay, Bill Gover on the front pin, throws a strike. Just amazing, Gary, how these guys can throw strike balls. Ali throws down, wide on the left.
I'm telling you, when they hit that top pin, those pins dance in a hurry. The thing about these matches, Bill, you can't fall asleep. You snooze, you lose here.
Ali throwing down for the 10 and takes the head pin out. 8 box.
With that 8, Ali Ross, 57 after 5 frames. 6 frame coming up for Ali Ross. Wants to be open here and wants to be on that top pin.
Okay, Gary, now Ali's concentrating a little bit harder. Throws a very smooth ball, he does, and there we go. Delivery on the 2-pin again. Okay. There's Billy Gover again, 9-pin drop.
And a nice piece of deadwood, and I don't know if he's going to shoot the wood or shoot the pin here.
Well, 99 times out of 100, these guys will punch out the pin by self, Gary, but that deadwood is so inviting that it's difficult to predict.
Oh.
Wide to the left or missed a bit to the right. It's hard to say, but I think he was going after the single by itself.
Yes. Well, Ali Ross picked up 10. With that 10, 67 after 6 frames. And Bill Gover has to settle for a 9.
Now we have Ray Macisaac open a strike, Gary, and Brian Uphold coming in close behind.
Well, Ray Macisaac can throw a double as quick as anybody, that's for sure.
Ray can string him out. Looking to be on the front one. Throw down and a little wide to the right. And there's a 6-pin drop by Brian Uphold.
Well, Ray Macisaac wants to split that 1-2 here, Bill.
It's a difficult spare. He's got to split the 1-2 down the front.
Nice shot.
There we go. Ray elated over that shot. Brian throws down the 6-pin drop, takes out 2, and we've got a little advantage here from Kha'zix.
You see it so often. The bowler, your opponent, makes such a nice shot, and it kind of, I don't know if it throws the other guy off or not, but it just gives him that little extra to think about, I guess.
Well, we see it in hockey, Gary. A goaltender makes a great save in one end, and the boys skate down the other end and capitalize on it.
Well, Ray wants to load up here. He wants to be on the top pin with his first ball this time.
Okay, he was wide to the right in the last one, so he's going to make a little correction. And just sticks the head pin on the right-hand side with a 5-pin break. Brian Gover pulls out 4 out of the middle, Gary.
Well, Ray, second ball coming up here. 5 together shots that Ray can make, probably 80% of the time.
It's one of the more difficult shots, Gary, but it's still one that you can make, like you say. Now, we've got Brian with 3 on the right side, 3 on the left side. And a good try, and fortunately for the Cape Breton Air Atlantic, he pulls out 1 to the right, so
yes.
I think the best Brian can reasonably expect here is possibly an 8-box, Gary. He'll go down and lay the ball to the left at deadwood.
Well, Ray will play for 10. And Ray has a nice 10.
Good 10 by Ray Macisaac. And an 8 frame for Brian Glover.
Yes, Brian does just as you stated. He plays the 3 on the left-hand side, picks up 8. With that 8, 58 after 6 frames. Ray Macisaac with his 10, 71. Tony Leblanc getting up here on lane 10. He's open on that big strike, and I tell you, he can throw a double really quick.
Tony can throw doubles quick as anybody, Gary, and
what a tough break.
Okay, Steve Vadney throwing down, and he had basically the same break as Tony Leblanc, Gary, but the deadwood rolled a bit. Now he's got a very nice 8-pin break. Tony down, 7 on the strike.
Well, big count of 7 on the strike is not bad when you consider it a break, but Steve Vadney, second ball coming up, he has an excellent shot at a spare here.
Steve hasn't missed very many this week. Didn't expect to see him right around the front one. And he's off to the left.
Ooh.
Oh. LeBlanc throws down, misses on the right.
But Tony has to settle for a 7. With the 7, 61 after 5 frames.
You can see how badly Tony wanted that, Gary, with the grimace on his face after he was wide on the right. Tony, of course, no stranger to TV bowling. We see him on ATV quite often on Saturday afternoons. Tony delivers, ball down, crashes the head pin, and a 9-pin drop.
Well, that's the ball he wanted last time. Steve Vadney on the top pin, but he leaves a 5 in the corner, so a little bit of an easier shot here coming up for Tony Leblanc for a spare, and he normally doesn't miss these.
Tony fires, bang off,
right on it.
And in the pit. Steve Vadney's on the front pin and pulls out 2.
Well, with that spare, Tony Leblanc 78 plus a ball after 6 frames.
Okay, there's that.
What a 10.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
Okay, coming up now we have the 2 crashers on the bottom.
Well,
Timmy Lipke and Timmy Kerrigan.
Well, Timmy Kerrigan is 48 plus a ball after 4 frames, but his opponent, in lane 9, Tim Lipke, double strike, spare, 75 plus a ball after 4 frames. So Timmy Kerrigan is going to have to go a bit to catch Tim Lipke here.
Either one of these fellows can mark out, Gary, throw marks right across the board, so we can't tell what's going to happen. Just going to be a bad break on one. Timmy Kerrigan off to the side, 3 on his mark.
Well, with that 3 on at 51. Tim Lipke right back on the top pin, big 9-pin break. With that 9 on at 84 after only 4 frames. Just incredible.
Timmy Kerrigan throws down, a nice split on the head pin, but it's a very difficult shot. Okay. And Tim the Machine Lipke converts another one, Gary.
Well, 5 for 5. He's been perfect through 5 so far. A nice 10, Timmy Kerrigan, nice 10. With that 10, 61 after 5 frames. And a little something for Timmy Kerrigan to build on for this frame here after making a nice 10.
Gary, Timmy's behind the 8 ball right now. He knows he's down 25, 30 pins on Tim Lipke, and Tim just builds and builds, and here's a good shot for Timmy. Lipke delivers, the ball down on the front one.
Well, 7 on that spare. What's that 7 on it? 101 after 5 frames.
Here's Timmy Kerrigan delivering on the object pin, and he converts his. This, I think, is what the merchants may hope for. Gary is Lipke getting splits, maybe be a little heavy on the head pin, and
yes.
He's around the front when he's devastated, Gary.
So right now he's up 40 pins on his bowler, but his bowler is open in the 6th frame. But 40 pins is a lot.
Bang off.
With that 10, 111 after 6 frames.
Okay, Tim Lipke hasn't left a pin on the approach yet. Gary's he's got a spare striker 10 every box. 111 in the 6th. He's 51 pins over. If he just gets 10s for the rest of the game, he'll finish with a 151. But I think that you're looking at maybe a 170 or 180 game possibly.
Well, looking on the monitor here, the New Hampshire All-Stars are up 52 pins in this match. But the Cape Breton, here, Atlantic, have 3 marks open. And one of those marks is Kansas Snow, as he's open on the spare right here. So he'd be looking to cut into that 52-pin deficit.
It doesn't take very long to get rid of 50 pins, Gary. If you could run a double strike or a triple strike, which all of these bowlers can, all of a sudden it's a tie game again. Mike Coleman makes a lovely spare.
Yes. Coleman takes 5 off one side with 1 ball, takes the other 5 off the left side with the 2nd ball.
Okay.
Kansas, difficult shot here, Bill.
He's got the 5, the 8, and the 7 pin, Gary, and he's down on it, but as you say, very difficult. Good try, Kansas.
Well, he cut 7 pins off the deficit, but the only bad thing is his opponent's open.
There's not very much given these fellows from New Hampshire. If they have an opportunity, they seize upon it, and they'll run with it.
That's for sure. For any viewers who did tune in late, this is the World Candlepin Bowling Championships brought to you by Labatt, Lite, and Olin's Breweries.
Mike Poulin fires down in the 1-2 pocket. 9-pin drop, leaving the 5-pin with good coverage with the wood next to it.
And this match is a 3-string match.
Chance to Snow delivers. 9-pin drop, Gary, with a great coverage on that deadwood. Poulin throws.
Right on.
Dead center.
I tell you, both teams don't miss too many 9-pin breaks.
There's Kansas. Throws down and converts his. Kansas looks a little unsteady right now, Gary. He's had knee problems over the years, and I wonder if his knee is not giving a little bit of trouble, too. He seemed a little shaky on that ball.
Yes. And even the way he's bowling, he's still 94 plus a ball after 8 frames.
Okay, we have Ali Ross and Bill Gover. Ali 67 after 6. Gover 82 after 6.
Gover right on the top pin, big strike. Bill Gover seems to throw a lot of strikes.
Ali throws down, 7-pin drop, left the 1-pin, the 3-pin, and the 10-pin with good coverage on the 10.
That Bill Gover, that's his 3rd strike in this string already.
Fortunately for the Cape Breton Air Atlantics, Gary, those strikes weren't in a row.
Yes.
Ali throws down and converts his strike.
With that spear, Ali Ross, 77 plus a ball after 7 frames.
Okay, I think what the Merchants are going to do here, Gary, is just try to stay with them, hold the present deficit, and maybe come back in the 2nd and 3rd string. Okay, here's Gover, an 8-pin drop.
Ali Ross bowling on that spear.
Ali's around the front one, and a 9-pin, and it's going to be a strike. 9 in the shaker, Gary, with a good wood. Okay, is Gover going to answer the call now?
Well, 2 possible spears here. He's on it. Oh, he has it.
And,
well, a little bit of luck now and then.
Well, still he hit the object pin, Gary, which is the name of the game, and in the meantime, Ali Ross puts his in the bank.
So with that spear, Ali Ross, 96 plus a ball after 8 frames. But Bill Gover, 112 plus a ball after 8. Oh, that ball by Brian Upholt. He's way down the corner, and he gets a 9-pin break, head pin with a piece of deadwood behind it.
And that was close to a strike, Gary, as well. Here's Ray Macisaac on the front pin, and it's an 8-pin drop with a good deadwood. Gover delivers, and...
Ooh. That's one of the few 9-pin breaks we have seen missed in this match so far.
I think that's the first one on the New Hampshire side, Gary. Ray Macisaac throws down a good ball and converts his spear.
Well, with that spear, 81 plus a ball after 7 frames.
Okay, Brian Uphold not happy with himself, missing the pin you shoot at the most often, but... Okay, that may give Ray something to build on, Gary.
This Brian Uphold in lane 10, he throws the ball some hard, Bill.
He's got a lifetime high triple of 485, a high single of 196. So, you know, he's been around big scores.
Yes.
Delivers, down, misses the head pin again, and gets a 7-pin drop, Gary.
Well, if he wants the spear conversion, he's going to have to hit the head pin with a 2nd ball, that's for sure.
Ray Macisaac gets down in the front one. 7-pin, 8-pin drop. Good break.
Ray Macisaac looks like he's going to have a horrendous break there for a moment, but he gets a 7-pin and a 5-pin to kick out.
And there's Brian Uphold finally hitting the front one. Okay, Macisaac will get a definite lift, and the Cape Breton Air Atlantics will get one as well if he can convert the spare. 8-pin break. He's got the 6-pin and the 9-pin. Throwing in, going to be handy, and there he is.
Nice shot, Ray Macisaac with that spear, 99 plus a ball after 8 frames. And not only that, but the Air Atlantics, all 3 bowlers, top 3 bowlers, Bill, that have completed their 8 frames are all open in the 8th. We know how important that foundation frame is.
That's the one, Gary. It's going to be an exciting finish by the looks of this.
Well, Air Atlantics, every one of them are open.
Now we have...
And 5th place bowlers are also open in the 6th.
Tony Leblanc and Steve Vadney up on lanes number 9 and 10. Vadney in the approach. He releases, and he's on the front one. No, he's a little wide to the right.
Well, Tony LeBron open here on a mark. He'd be looking to load up, cutting to that deficit, and he's right on that top pin, and he gets a big count of 9 possible strikes. Ooh, big 9-pin break.
Okay, Gary, in the meantime, Steve Vadney has a 7-pin drop. Bearing down on it. And
Ooh.
wide to the left.
Well,
Opens the door for Tony LeBlanc, Gary.
Yes, could be a break for the Air Atlantics. He's on it.
Hang on.
Well, I don't know if New Hampshire are starting to hear some footsteps or not, But I tell you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks in a row for the Cape Breton Atlantics as they are slowly closing that gap, as it was 52 pins after 6 frames. And I've got to believe it's probably down to in the 30s or low 40s right now. But the Atlantics have a mark open, and every bowler is open on a mark.
Okay, here's Vadney again. Throws down, splits the 1-2, and leaves himself the triangle in the corner. Tony Leblanc loading on a spare, wanting to break here.
Tony, just a picture of concentration up there. And back on the top pin, and a bad break. Only count of 6, and what a tough break.
Vadney converts his, and Tony's got a piece of deadwood there. Gary may help him. He'll be on the deadwood side, possibly. Pitcher concentration. It's down, and a
nice
good try.
What a tough break, though. Just when you're getting back in the match and you throw a nice ball perfect on the top pin and you leave a break like that.
Well, Gary, I can't help but think that if you or I or a lot of other bowlers had thrown on that, they would have maybe pulled 4 of the middle, but Tony was such a tremendous ball, got the extra few pins.
Well, Tim Lipke getting up here in lane 10, currently 111 after 6 frames. And his opponent, Timmy Kerrigan, is 71 plus a ball.
Okay, here's Lipke back on the front pin. And an 8-pin drop. Timmy Lipke was an 8-pin drop on his spare. Of course, Timmy's worth more because he was open.
Yes. Well, Tim Lipke is trying to convert this for a spare. Ooh, and he just missed. Timmy Kerrigan has some deadwood to shoot here, and he's on it.
Hey. Timmy makes a good shot.
Well, the last 8 frames, the Atlantics have 7 marks in the last 8 frames as they're putting a charge in here. As we're slowly approaching the homeward stretch of our first string of a 3-string match.
They're taking a lot of pins back, Gary. Timmy Kerrigan rolls on a spare. 8-pin drop. Timmy the Machine Lipke back again and off to the side uncharacteristically.
Well, sometimes you never know what can happen to a bowler. You get 2 or 3 marks against him, slow him down a bit.
Here we go. Timmy Kerrigan throws down. He's on the front pin and just a little heavy.
Ooh.
And Lipke making a fine try.
Well, those 5 went in a hurry. And Timmy Kerrigan ends up with a 10. With the 10, 107 after 8 frames. And Tim Lipke also ends up with a 10.
Okay, beautiful bowling by Lipke. Gary's got 8 frames completed. Hasn't left the pin on the approach yet.
Well, both bowlers getting up here are open on marks. Looking at our monitor, Bill, it was 52 after 6. Check it out. I mean, it is, what, 14 pins in the difference?
Wow, what a comeback.
What a comeback. Pins. Not only 14 pins, both teams are open 3 marks apiece.
Okay, they each have 3 spares, Gary, so that right now the Merchants will have to pick up, we'll say 3 more spares to New Hampshire. So for every one that New Hampshire gets, Cape Breton Atlantics will have to get 2. Kansas delivers on the front pin and the 5-pin drop.
Well, Kansas has been getting good breaks all night. Here's the first really bad break he's had.
Mike Poulin throws down, splits the 1 and 2, and a 9-pin drop, Gary. With good coverage on the deadwood. Kansas makes a nice try, but he's looking at possible 8-box here.
Ooh. Do you believe that? Well, Mike Poulin just missed a 9-pin break with deadwood. That's the break that these guys just do not miss.
Kansas throws down, gets an 8, and he has to be excited over Poulin missing that 9-pin drop, Gary, and that opens the door.
That's for sure. When you go down, you only get 5 on your spare. You punch right through the head pin. Your opponent gets a 9-pin break in deadwood. You got to say, gee, you know, nothing but bad things are going to happen here. But he misses a 9-pin break with deadwood, and see if Kansas can put a mark.
Kansas throws down, splits the 1-3, and gets a bad break, Gary. Poulin throws again, and he's off to the side. I wonder if you might hear the pitter-patter of
yes,
Air Atlantic feet coming.
Well, when you're up 50 or 52 pins, those 9-pin breaks are really easy. But when it's only a 10 or 15-pin game, those pins look a little further away.
This is what I alluded to earlier, Gary. It's a 3-string game. If they can cut into the lead and get back in a reasonable good shape, they can make it real exciting for the 2nd and 3rd frames. Okay, Poulin was off to the left, and he leaves 2 pins, the 1 pin and the 10-pin. Kansas throws down, makes a 10.
Well, Kansas ends up with a 117 after 10 frames.
Gary, 117 is a nice score, but I'm sure Kansas is not very pleased with it.
Oh, no, Kansas looking for 130, 140 in this competition.
And here's Poulin throwing down. He makes his 10.
Well, with that 10, Dave, Mike Coleman, ends up with a 130.
Okay, there's a plus 13 for New Hampshire off the top.
Well, Ali Ross getting up here in lane number 10. He's currently 96 plus a ball after 8 frames. His opponent, 110 plus a ball. So both bowlers open here, Bill. 2 big balls coming up here.
Ali throws down, off to the left, takes out 4 pins. It's a little shaker, 5 pins, 6 pins, 6-pin drop for Ali Ross.
Looks like a strike.
And Bill Glover throws his 4th strike of the match.
Tell you that Bill Glover has that strike ball going for him here.
Ali throws down, wide to the right. Well, Bill Glover, Gary, his lifetime high single is 211, so you know anybody who's over 200 has to throw a lot of strikes.
211. Just incredible.
Ali throws down, going for the 9, and picks off the 7-pin, 8 frame.
Well, with that 8, Ali Ross, 110 after 9 frames. His opponent, Bill Glover, 130
open, Gary.
130 open.
Ali Ross delivers on the front one and leaves the 5 in the corner, -1. Glover off to the side, leaves the 4 horsemen.
It's all 2 makeable spares here.
That's right, Gary. Ali just wants to be a little heavier on the 3-pin, and that should take the rest of them. There we are, punch to right. Glover getting set, he delivers. And 8 on the strike, which is kind of a break for Cape Breton Air Atlantics.
Well, with that in the strike, 138 after 9 frames, and he'll be shooting for a 10 for 148. He has a 10, 148 single. Ali Ross end up with a 9 and 119. Ray Macisaac getting up here in lane 10. He's currently 99 plus a ball after 8 frames, so he's open.
Okay, Gary, the Air Atlantics have not been capitalized on their marks coming in the 8th frame. Now, Ray is going to try to make a difference, and he's down the center, 4. Very disappointing.
Right through the middle.
Okay, Brian Uphold is off the side, and he gets a good break. Justice.
Yes. Well, that's the case of one guy hits the middle and gets nothing. Next guy hits the side and gets rewarded with a makeable spare break.
And Ray on the front pin again and takes out 2. Brian Uphold off to the right, misses, and sets himself up with a 10. Uphold has been struggling the last few frames, Gary. He's missed that 9-pin drop with just a head pin by himself. Came back the next frame and missed it. Now 3 balls in a row, and he missed again.
Well, it'll be interesting to see in our second string if New Hampshire All-Stars are going to make a change, or if they're going to go with the same combination that apparently it looks like they're going to have a little lead after 1 string, as they have a sub, John Thomas, who is sitting out this string.
John Thomas is an excellent bowler as well, Gary. He's got 192 high single, 484 triple, and a league average of 123. Okay, in the meantime, Ray Macisaac gets thrown down, got a 2-1 split, and Brian Uphold has got a 3-1 split. So we'll probably be seeing a 9 and 10 in these 2 boxes. Ray throws down.
Oh, nice try.
2. Brian is down.
Ooh, equally fine try.
Okay, not much of a change after these 2 frames. Ray looking for a 10, Brian looking for a 9. Ray takes a 9.
Oh, with that 9, Ray Macisaac, 121. And Brian also ends up with a 9. Well, getting up here, Tony Leblanc and Steve Vadney. Tony Leblanc's currently 113 after 8 frames. But Steve bowling over lane 9, he's 101, but he's open on a mark.
Tony's on the 2-pin, gets a good 7-pin drop, Gary. Good 7-pin drop. Steve fires down on the head pin, 9-pin drop.
Big count of 9. As you stated, Bill, the New Hampshire All-Stars seem to be loading up their marks a lot more than the Cape Breton Air Atlantics on the homeward stretch here.
Yeah, there's Tony converting his spare. Tony's like a pit bull, Gary. He digs in and gives nothing. Steve Vadney converts his 9-pin break.
Well, with that spare, Tony Leblanc's 123 plus a ball after 9 frames. He's having himself a fine string here. And he'll be looking for a 9 or 10-timer here.
Tony in the tournament, Gary, had a 132.8 average. He's finished, of course, in the top 10 and throws down, splits the front 2 pins with a 6-pin drop. But he's got a few wood on the plate, so that should help him. Steve Vadney is down on the 4-pin. Wow, that was a bad ball.
I think that was about the first bad ball I've seen Steve Vadney throw in this string.
Yes, it has been, Gary, but he's still got 4 on his mark, so he has to be just a little bit pleased. Tony high in the deadwood and takes out the 5 and the 9. He's left with the 7-10. Steve Vadney right back in the top pin and almost spares that one.
Well, Tony Leblanc ends up with an 8 with that 8 string of 137. Fine string for him. Steve Vadney ends up with a 10.
Okay, after 3 we have 357 for Cape Breton Air Atlantics and 376 for New Hampshire All-Stars. After 4, 510 for New Hampshire and 494 for Cape Breton Merchants. Timmy Kerrigan, 7-pin drop. Tim the Machine Lipke down on the front pin and a 7-pin drop as well.
Well, I look for both bowlers to convert these spares here. As we stated, this is a 3-string match. This is only our first string.
Okay.
So a lot of bowling left to come here yet.
Tim Kerrigan hits the front pin, but a little fine, and Timmy Lipke spares.
Well, with that 9, Timmy Kerrigan, 116, but Tim Lipke with that spare, 141 plus a ball after 9 frames, so he's having himself an excellent string here. And that's really the difference in the match, Bill. There's only 16 pins after 4 bowlers are finished.
Okay, Kerrigan throws down again, a 2 and 1, 7-pin drop. Lipke gets set, slivers, and gets an 8-pin drop. Gary gets a little bit of the shamrock luck, and he's got the 1-2 with a deadwood.
Well, if Tim Lipke can convert this, he'll have himself 160-some plus string. Timmy Kerrigan, tough shot here. He's got to be fine in those 2.
There's Timmy going down on the object pin, too heavy. And Lipke gets set, goes down, and wide to the right.
You can hear the crowd back there, Bill. They're oohing and on with every shot. And Timmy Kerrigan ends up with a 9 for a 1-string total of 125.
And Lipke throws down with a 10.
Well, we're going to recap the scoring in our first match and back with our second string of this match in a few seconds. So we're just going to take a little pause and we'll be back in a moment. Well, welcome back to our second string here, ladies and gentlemen. And after the first string, Bill, 669 to 619. Difference of 50 pins. And really, the difference really was the 2 anchor bowlers, when you really look at it.
It was, Gary. Timmy Lipke had 35 pins, 34 pins on Timmy Kerrigan. That gave him a 50-pin lead, but it was a game that the Merchants made a big comeback. They cut down from 50 pins down to 14, wasn't it?
And 14 at one point.
And they had their opportunities, couldn't load up on the spares. New Hampshire came back and built up the big cushion again. But 50 pins can be taken quite quickly by 2 bowlers, Gary.
That's right. Well, we'll see here in the second string if the Air Atlantics can cut into that 50-pin lead. And with that, we're going to get our 2 leadoff bowlers back up to the first 2 frames of their second string, with the New Hampshire All-Stars up by 50 pins.
Okay, Gary, I saw John Thomas taking a few practice slides, so possibly he's going to see some action in this string as well. Okay, Mike Poulin on the head pin again, 7-pin drop, but a 2 and 1.
Kansas Snow back on that top pin. he leaves himself a 7-pin break, but the only problem is he has 1 pin over on the opposite side where the 2 are.
He's got a wood you can spin, Gary, so possibly you'll see Kansas down on the 10-pin. Hope to get that pin to go across. Okay, Mike Poland, hard to say what he played, Gary, but hey, good try, Kansas, on the right-hand side, but left the 2 got the hard one. Mike Poland takes a basic 10. Kansas throws down and takes a 10 as well.
So 10's wild in her first frame as 9's are wild in her first frame of her first string.
Okay, here's Mike Poland. Stud. Delivers and is on the front one and takes out the middle. 3 and 3.
Well, Bill, if Cape Breton Atlantics are going to get back in this match, I would think it's going to be this string. They almost have to win this string. You don't want to be down by any more than 50 or 60 going into the last string. A team of this caliber, that's for sure.
It's too big a hill to climb, I think. Kansas, or Gary, looking at Kansas throwing this 3 and 2, but a lot of teams you can make a comeback against, but these New Hampshire guys, they're tough, and they're not going to wilt under any pressure from the Cape Breton bowlers.
That's for sure.
Kansas throws down, makes a 9.
And as we stated, this is our left division semifinal, as the winner of this match will bowl the main heat in the finals. But our next match on this series is going to be O'Loughlin from the States versus Alfie's Club 55, also from the States. And that's going to be for the right division championship.
Okay, Gary, Billy Glover throws down and gets a 2 and 1. Ali Ross close behind, off to the left with a 4 and 1. I bowled against both O'Loughlin's and Alfie's, Gary, in the right division qualifying rounds, and 2 awesome teams. Okay, both bowlers wide on their spares, so they're looking for 9s or 10s. Billy Glover takes a 9. Ali Ross waiting for the dead with the settle, and he'll go after his 9.
You're getting back to O'Loughlin's and Alfie's. O'Loughlin, they came first in their division. They came first in the right division, and Alfie's Club 57, to get into the finals, they beat Lite Lanes, who won the World Championship 3 years in a row.
This is true, Gary, and they won it 3 years in a row, but something you can't forget is Alfie's Club 57, they're the defending world champions.
That's right.
And O'Loughlin's, they won it as well, so you've got, hey, there's Billy Glover with his pat and his strike ball again. Tommy Oles, the anchor for O'Loughlin's construction, Gary, when they bowled us, he had a 177 single and a 469 triple.
Just incredible bowling, and he came second in the averages. He only lost out by .10 to Tim Lipke in the averages. Tim Lipke was 134.1, and Tommy Ulster was 134 even.
Right you are. And the same match that Tommy had the 469, Billy Treeful had a 413.
That's right.
They're not a one-dimension team. And Ali Ross ignores the deadwood and pulls out a clean 7-pin. Good shot,
we know Alfie's Club 57. They have Alfie Johnson, who averaged 130-something. They have the Renault father-son combination in Maine Heat, Charlie Milan and his son James Milan, and Chip Carson. So a lot of good bowlers left to come here, as we have 6 teams left in this competition for the World Championship.
Okay, Gary, here's John Thomas throwing down. The first time we've had a look at him. A right-hander, throws fairly hard. Ray Macisaac throws a strike.
And you can almost hear from the reaction of the crowd what that was.
Thomas throws down, makes a nice try.
The crowd's really into it back there, Bill. They're doing what's called a tomahawk chop. I don't know where they got it from.
No, I'm sure it wasn't Jane Fonda.
No. Well, Thomas ends up with a 10. Ray Macisaac, big strike. Thomas will be looking for his first mark here.
Okay, here's Thomas's approach. Throws down. Throws a little backup ball, Gary, and 9-pin drop to 5-pin. Kha'zix throws. He's around the front one. And, incredible bad luck, Gary.
Well, that ball was going in for Ray Macisaac, Bill. It almost looked like a double strike. He said he leaves a 7-10 piece of deadwood. Might help the shot a bit.
And here's John Thomas throwing down right on the 5-pin. I think we'll see Ray try to nip that deadwood on the left-hand tip, Gary, and probably send it way over to the 10. But degree of difficulty out of 10, that's probably a 9.799 or something like that. Ray goes down. Too far in the middle.
Yeah, it looked like he hit it on the red line, but he gets to be counter 9 on that strike. And he'll look for 10 to be 29 after 2 frames. His opponent,
John Thomas.
5-pin break, a 9-pin break, the 5-pin. He sat out the first string, and he made that just like as if he bowled the first string.
Well, there's not very much given these guys, Gary.
That's for sure.
Okay, now we've got Tony Leblanc, Steve Vadney up. Steve delivers on the front pin. 8-pin drop, the 5-pin and the 7-pin with a little bit of deadwood. Here's Tony bearing down and through the middle again. Most times when Tony Leblanc has a bad game, Gary, it's not because he's missing, it's because he's hitting the head pin too heavy. Steve throws down on the 5-pin, takes the 5-pin out, leaves the 7. Now Tony's shooting and through the middle.
Oh, Steve settles for a 9.
Now, if we can have a look at the monitor, Gary, and have a look at the concentration in Tony Leblanc's eyes, you can see how hard he's digging in.
Yes. Well, he settles for a 9. Nice 9 after only having 5 pins down after 2 balls.
The only guy I can come close to relating with Tony, Gary, is Dave Stewart, the pitcher of the Oakland Athletics. He's got the glare. And here's Steve punching out 4 out of the middle. Tony getting set. You see the concentration. On the front one again. 8-pin drop, 9-pin drop.
It seems like New Hampshire All-Stars are starting to get a few tough breaks there, right through the top pin. And Cape Breton Atlantics, if you want to get back in this match, here's the time to do it right now. Tony up the cards.
And a good 9 by Tony Leblanc.
Well, that brings Tim Lipke up in lane 10 against Timmy Kerrigan in lane 9. Tim Lipke had that big 158 string.
Okay, Timmy Lipke throws down on the head pin. And Timmy Kerrigan throws down on the strike.
Well, Tim Lipke in the first string started out with that big double strike. And maybe Tim Kerrigan saying, hey, maybe you did the first string, I'm going to do it the second string.
Lipke throws down, playing it perfectly, Gary, and just misses just by a whisker.
Well, Tim Lipke will play for 10 here.
There we are, and there's the 10. You see what he's trying to hit. Timmy Kerrigan throws down the head pin. 9-pin drop with the 5-pin.
Well, that's about as close to a double as you're going to get.
Lipke delivers, throws down on the front one, and a 9-pin drop, the 7-pin, possibly a strike. 9-pin drop.
Well, pair of 9-pin breaks. You got to figure Timmy Kerrigan has a deadwood there, Bill. I guess he's just going to go right at the pin.
And here's Timmy. Takes it home.
Well, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics, they have 5 marks after 2 frames there. New Hampshire All-Stars are going for their 3rd mark. And Lipke has it.
There we go. Timmy the Machine Lipke. Gary doesn't miss too many, does he?
Definitely not. He missed that one in the first frame, and you knew he was going to make that one. The Kansas Snow getting up here in lane 10. He's 19 after 2 frames. And right now, as we can see on the monitor, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics have picked up 21 pins already off that deficit. So right now, they're only down 29 pins overall.
21 pins they picked up, and they've got 3 marks each.
3 marks open each.
Okay, here's Kansas, 19 after 2. Nice smooth ball by Kansas on the head pin, 6-pin drop, 7-pin drop, and a tough shot following. Okay, Mike Coleman, 9-pin drop.
Well, Kansas just wants to punch this straight back through. He has Deadwood in there behind that double pin, should carry it through.
That Deadwood will deflect the 2-pin over to the 7. Gary, Kansas wide to the right. Okay, you have to take advantage of these breaks, Gary. There's not too many that you can miss if these guys won't make you pay for them. Mike Coleman right down.
That's for sure. When you get in this caliber of bowling, you've got to make probably 95% of your spear opportunities because you know your opponents are going to.
Not very many misses. Okay, Mike Poulin throwing first this time. It's on the right, 5-pin drop. 4 horsemen and the 9-pin with a good coverage from Deadwood. Kansas delivers on the front pin and a 7-pin drop with a good spare shot.
Well, you got to look for Kansas to make this spare. He just missed an easy spare, and he wants this one to get him going here. Give himself started.
He's got to take this one in, Gary, to get himself back up with Mike Poulin, who missed his a moment ago. Kansas converts.
Well, with that spare, Kansas no 39 plus a ball after 4 frames. Ali Ross getting up here in lane 10. He started out with an 8, but he got a spare in his second frame. But his opponent, Bill Gover, had a 9 in his first frame, but a big strike. So he's open on a strike, and Ali's open on a spare. And both bowlers are looking to load up here.
Gover's one of the guys they're worried about, Gary, with this strike ball. They're thinking he can possibly throw a double or possibly a triple strike, and you know what that does. Puts you way behind the 8 ball.
Well, Gover, he's throwing a strike 33% of the time. He's got 4 strikes in 12 frames.
There's Ali with a 7-pin drop and a good spare. Gover wide to left with a 7-pin drop.
Yeah, it's tough to throw doubles when you miss the top pin.
Okay, here we have an advantage for Ali. He hits that 3-pin, he should get the spare with no problem. And there we go.
Well, with that spare, 35 plus the ball, Ali Ross. Nice try by Bill Gover.
Goes down, leaves the 10-pin. And there's Gover taking 10. Okay, now Ali's looking for a 1-3 split, Gary. He likes to play the right-hand side of the head pin. He feels his ball is a little more effective when he's on that right-hand side pocket.
Well, he'll be looking to load up here. Wants to be on that top pin.
And there we go. 5-pin drop, 6-pin drop, and a good another spare break, Gary.
Very makeable spare break, just like a 9-pin break in Deadwood. Red line, higher, should be wired. He has a piece of Deadwood in back there.
Okay, there's Bill Gover, threw down, left the 7-pin, the 10-pin, and the 6 to boot, but he's got some Deadwood that he can try. I can't see just where it is from our vantage point, Gary, but there's Ali making his spare.
Well, with that spare, 51 plus a barrel for Ali Ross, as he has 3 spares in a row here.
Billy Gover throws down wide on the left. You can see him playing the left-hand tip of that wood, trying to get a spin to go across.
I tell you, the crowd is very vocal back here, Bill. Is there what you would say they're into this match?
Well, they've got the hometown favorites. We've only got one Cape Breton team out of the 6 finalists, and of course that's where all the loyalties lie, right here with the...
Well, Ray Macisaac here, he's 29 after 2 frames. He opened up with a big strike and a big count of 9 on it, and he'll be looking for a mark here. And he misses a top pin, but hey, he gets himself not too bad of a break.
Oh, an 8-pin drop.
His opponent's open on the spare here, and John Thomas right on the top pin. He gets a count of 5. A tough shot.
Well, the 4 by themselves are hard enough, Gary, with a corner pin stuck in the boot, but as we've seen these fellas, they can make some super shots, so we can't say that they can't make them.
Well, Ray misses the top pin. He's on the 8-pin.
Whoa, look at that. What a try. What a strange pin to leave. You're going to betting to leave a pin. It wouldn't be the 5-pin, you'd bet.
Well, Ray Macisaac shooting for 10, and he has his 10. John Thomas also shooting for 10, and he also has the 10. So with that 10, Ray Macisaac, 20-39 after 3 frames. John Thomas, 35 after 3 frames. So both bowlers want to be open here in the 4th frame. As the merchants, Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics, right now they have 4 marks open, and New Hampshire All-Stars only have 1 mark open. So New Hampshire looking for some to be open on a few marks.
Ray throws a nice ball, splits the 1-2, leaves the diamond plus the 1. John Thomas, 9-pin drop. 10-pin with a little bit of help from Deadwood.
Well, if Ray happens to convert this, every bowler on the Cape Breton team will be open on a mark.
Okay, Ray is bearing down Gary. Throws on the front pin. Ooh, tremendous try. Then there's John Thomas, who didn't make the opening 5, but certainly showing he belongs in this game.
And as we stated, a lot of prize money at stake here, Bill. These bowlers are shooting for over $25,000 in prize money, as we only have 6 teams left in this competition. And Tony Leblanc getting up here in lane 10. He's open on a mark. He had a 9 in his first frame, spare in his second, and he has not missed that top pin too often. He wants to be on it right here for a big count.
There's Tony on the left side, 6 on the spare. And another spare break. Here's Steve Vadney on the front one. And left a 3-1, Gary.
Well, with that 6 on it, Tony Leblanc, 25 after 2 frames. Looking for a spare here. Whoa, what a try.
Oh, hard to believe.
Well, Steve Vadney over there, he's got himself a tough break.
The only thing he's got there, Gary, is he's got a dead with it, possibly he can get motion. He's on it. And left the 7 pin. Not a whole lot to shoot at, but you can't count any of these guys out.
No.
Tony makes your basic 10.
Well, with that 10, Tony Leblanc, 35 after 3 frames. And Steve Vadney shooting for 10 here. And he'll settle for a 9. With that 9, 27 after 3 frames.
Okay, now we've got Tony getting set. 35 after 3. 8-pin lead in his opponent, Steve Vadney. There's Tony. Pitcher concentration. Down. And there's 10 in the pit. A big striker.
There's 10 more in the pit.
Just hold your ticket.
Well, now we got the crowd singing back there. Where'd that choir come from? Well, Timmy Kerrigan getting up here in lane 10. He started out with a strike with a spare on it. He's 30 plus a ball. He's looking to load up here, and his opponent, Tim Lipke, is also open on a spare.
Okay, Kerrigan throws down on the 3-pin. Kind of heavy. 6 on his mark. Tim Lipke on the 3-pin as well, heavy.
Tim Lipke only counted 3 on his spare. That's got to be disappointing for the New Hampshire All-Stars. Not too often Tim Lipke gets 3 on a mark.
Okay, Timmy Kerrigan throws down and misses it again. Timmy's bowling has to be a concern, Gary. He's not as sharp as he might be. Timmy Lipke throws down. Oh, narrowly misses making that one.
Well, both bowlers will be playing for 10.
Tim Kerrigan on the front one, a 9.
Well, with that 9, 45 after 3 frames, and Tim Lipke has a 10. Both bowlers try to be open here. These are 2 anchor bowlers. They're just completing the 4th frame here. We're almost at the halfway point of this match, Bill.
Okay, Timmy Kerrigan down. 9-pin drop. 7-pin. Lipke throws down on the right-hand side, and he leaves the 1-7. What would you think Lipke's high triple would be, Gary? 4 what?
I would almost believe it's in the 500.
I can't trick you at all, is it? 515 is his high
Just
triple.
incredible.
Timmy Kerrigan throws down, and he makes a 7-pin. Clean as a whistle.
Big mark for Timmy Kerrigan. Big mark, Tim Lipke.
These guys may bend, Gary, but I don't think you're going to see him break.
Well, I tell you, we're going to get a count up here on the monitor any moment now, and I tell you, this match is definitely tightening up.
Okay, now we have Mike Poland.
Well,
and
Bill,
Kansas Snow.
the Air Atlantics have cut that deficit in half. Knocked 25 pins off that deficit. It's only at 25 pins. And the Air Atlantics have an extra mark open, and that mark is right here, Kansas Snow. And he gets a count of 5 on it, so it's down to 20 pins.
20 pins overall, Gary, and that's all what we're concerned about is the overall pin call for the match. This is not a match of points. It's only a pin call. Whoever knocks the most down in 3 strings is the winner and advances to the finals. Kansas throws down, takes 4 of the corner, but leaves the 7-pin. Tough shot he had.
So 20 pins, and we're almost at the halfway point of this match, and I tell you, 20 pins can disappear in a hurry, especially with this caliber of bowlers.
And Kansas takes a 10.
Well, with that 10, Kansas Snow, 54 after 5 frames. And Mike Poolin, big mark in lane 10, and he's bowling on that mark right here. He'd be looking to load up.
Here we go. On the head pin, 7-pin drop, 8-pin drop, 9-pin drop. Wow. Leaves the 3-pin.
Big counter 9 on it with that 9 on it, 61 after 5 frames. Kansas right back in the top 10.
Throws down, leaves the 6-pin.
Big 9-pin break for both bowlers here.
Mike Poland throws down right in the center of the pin, Gary.
You got to be impressed with that Mike Poland. I don't think I've seen him miss a 9-pin break yet.
Responding on every break he's had, Gary. The ones that he's missed have just been missed by a bit, and there's Kansas wide to the left.
Well, that's about 3 9-pin breaks and about 2 8-pin breaks Kansas Snow has missed so far, Bill. And that's got to be a concern for the Air Atlantics.
Well, when you figure the match is only 25 pins in the difference, and we've got 3 or 4 easy spare shots missed, there's a tie game.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, now we've got Ali Ross and Billy the Strike Gover. So
Well, Billy Gover's 47 after 4, ball in lane 10 here. But Ali Ross, he's 51 plus a ball. And Ali Ross, Ali Ross got 3 marks in a row, so he's on a bit of a roll at the moment.
Ali can string him out as well. Gary is down. 6-pin break, and that's the one he just converted a moment ago. Gover wide to the right.
Oh,
and
nice
Ali makes a beautiful try on it and leaves the back pin.
So,
Okay, there's an 8 box. We'll take a gain 1 or 2 at a time, Gary.
yes. And Ali's on it for 10. With that 10, Ali Ross 67 after 5 frames. With that 8, Billy Gover 55 after 5 frames. Both bowlers looking to be open here in the 6th frame.
Okay, Bill Gover throws down, heavy on the middle. There's an opening for the Cape Breton Merchants.
Well, Ali's got to take advantage of this. And he missed the top pin, but hey, a nice 8-pin break, and he's a 1-3, a very good chance for a spare.
That deadwood provides additional coverage on it. Gary, all he has to do is touch the head pin, and the deadwood behind will keep the pin in, and he has the shot. And he misses wide to the left. Two easy breaks in the last 2 boxes.
That's right.
The Air Atlantics are missed.
You got to make those breaks. You got to make them against these kind of teams. That's for sure.
Well, you know these guys are going to be held in check only for so long, and they're easy on the 3rd ball.
Well, Ali ends up with 10, and Bill Gover ends up with an 8.
Okay, Johnny Thomas and Ray Macisaac getting set to bowl their 5th and 6th frames, Gary.
Yes, and Johnny Thomas is open on a mark. This is his first string as he sat out the first string. And right on the top pin, a big count of 7.
Oh. Previous frame, he had the 5-pin, converted that, and they're right back on the head pin in the 1-3 pocket, and he's got basically the same break.
Well, Ray Macisaac be looking to be open here. He wants to be in the top pin.
Ray's delivery, down on the 2-pin, and 6-pin drop. John Thomas cuts 2 out of the front.
Well, Ray's got to be almost perfect here, Bill. I don't know if he's going to go inside or he's going to try to split them.
Well, you make that shot more often when you go on the outside, but it's a terrible price to pay when you miss.
Yes.
Ray's taking his time with his shot. There's the ball, and he stays on the right to keep himself out of trouble, I guess.
Well, John Thomas ends up with a 10, 62 after 5 frames. And Ray ends up with an 8. And right now we are at the halfway point of our match.
Exactly, Gary.
And the Cape Breton Air Atlantics have 2 marks open. And New Hampshire All-Stars have 3 marks open.
Well, they've got 2 open, Gary, but more importantly, they've gone 5 frames without a mark. And they don't want to do that very long.
No.
Okay, John Thomas has a 7-pin drop. Ray Macisaac throws down. 8-pin drop. With a tricky deadwood. Difficult shot for Ray, Gary.
Yes, it's a double pin down there. It's going to be tough to carry that double pin through.
John Thomas is on the front one. He makes the 1. The 10 is shaking, but no spare. Okay, Ray will try to lay his ball just on the left-hand side of that deadwood, maybe push it into the wall, into the kick pad, and back out to take out the 9-pin. Gary's got the 3-9 there.
Oh, nice try.
To the right.
For both these teams, Bill, there's not much to choose between both these teams. As in the round robin portion, the New Hampshire All-Stars came second in the round robin with 64 points, and Cape Breton Air Atlantics, they came third with 62 points. So only 2 points separating both teams in the round robin portion. And actually, the New Hampshire All-Stars were only 2 points out of first, and the Merchants were 4 points out of first.
That's right, Gary, and another important indication is the pinfall. Now, there's only a difference of 107 pins in the 11 matches they bowl, so they're very tight, very evenly matched.
Well, both bowlers up here are on strikes. And Steve Vadney gets a big 9-pin break on his strike, and Tony Leblanc be looking for a double, but he misses the top pin. But he gets a nice 8-pin break.
He's got a good break, Gary, and we'll see what Vadney can do with his single pin. He's got the 8-pin with a little bit of deadwood to help him out there. He's down.
No, not
there.
there.
He misses wide to the left, and very not happy with himself. He had an easy one, he knew it. Tony Leblanc converts his spare. And Vadney takes a 10.
Well, that's a big spare for Tony Leblanc of the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics.
Well, as important as a spare for Tony Leblanc, Gary, it's not a spare for Steve Vadney.
That's for sure.
And there we are. There's the 5-7-10, which would have been 7 more for New Hampshire had they converted it. Okay, Leblanc delivers on the front one. And 10 times.
As the crowd says it all back here, Bill.
I don't know if they can hear that in the control booth, Gary, but there's definitely not here. Vadney throws down 10. Oh, we're getting a chorus going back there of all the big bowlers are open.
Yes.
Okay, we've got the 2 Tims up here, Gary. Tim Lipke, Tim Kerrigan. Lipke getting set. He's in a motion. He throws down and on the head pin and takes 5 out of the middle. 5 on the spare.
Well,
Tim Kerrigan. Throws the strike.
Well, Bill, you can definitely see the tide is turning here.
Gary, I can barely hear you with the crowd noise behind us. There's Lipke making almost a fantastic shot. Okay, Timmy Kerrigan threw down on a spare, got a strike, which was a gain of 5 just in that 1 frame alone.
Well, I tell you, it'll be very interesting when we get a count after 6 frames here, because the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics have really cut into that deficit, as they have 2 strikes open at this point, and New Hampshire All-Stars only have 1 mark open, that being their leadoff bowler. So New Hampshire have gone a while. Actually, New Hampshire have gone 2, 4, 6, 7 frames without a mark.
Lipke throws down, and there's the get me out of trouble ball.
Well, 7 frames without a mark, and Lipke ends that with a big strike.
Real class act, Tim Lipke, Gary. He's a real credit to the game of bowling. Always smiling, always cheering the teammates on, cheering his opponents on.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. Not only is he a good bowler, but he's a nice person.
Tim Kerrigan throws down wide to the right and missed a good opportunity to make a spare, Gary, with the coverage he had on the 7 pin there. Timmy throws down, makes a 9, that's a 7 pin shaking.
Well, with that 9, Timmy Kerrigan's 92 after 6 frames. Now, the Kansas Snow currently 63 in the 6 frames, and you got to feel, Bill, the Kansas Snow got to get going.
Okay, nobody knows that better than Kansas himself, Gary. He puts a nice smooth ball down in the lane. 5 pin drop, 7. Okay. Mike Poulin throws down. He's got a 6 pin, 7 pin drop.
Well, looking at the monitor there, Bill, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics have picked up 43 pins, so they're only down 7 pins in this match.
Okay, Gary, 7 pins. There's the spare for Kansas Snow. Mike Poulin throws down. He cuts the 1-2 out of the 1-2-8 box.
Well, Mike Poulin was open, so he got 7 on that mark, so that means it's 14 pins. But the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics have 2 marks open.
Okay, Gary, Mike has missed that, so it's down to 13 pins. Kansas throws. 6 pins in the difference, Gary.
6 pins, an incredible bowling here. What a incredible pace to set.
Okay, Poulin's getting set again. He throws. He's on the front one. 7 pin drop with a beautiful deadwood. Kansas needs this one. Here we are. Kansas takes the front end of the triangle. You can hear the sigh out of the crowd.
Well, that's a case of being a little too accurate.
And there's Coleman putting the cap on his. Okay, Gary, so we're back up to 7 pins, and the marks are what?
2-1 for New Hampshire All-Stars. But Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics cannot be disappointed at this stage. I mean, they're down 50 pins going into the 2nd string.
It's got to be related, Gary. They've got 43, 44 pins back.
Yes.
They've got their hammer man, Tony Leblanc, open on the strike, but unfortunately, Lipke for New Hampshire, shouldn't say unfortunately, but unfortunately for the Merchants, Lipke's open on the strike, and both those guys can throw the boomers.
Well, Ali Ross getting up here in lane 10. He's 77 after 6 frames. And back on the top pin, and hey, he gives himself the 5 pin and the 10 pin.
Billy Gover throws off to the right. You can see that hard ball, Gary. He's got a 7 pin drop.
Well, very makeable shot for Billy Gover over there in lane 9. Ali Ross is a bit more difficult. He's got to carve that pin over.
There's Gary.
What a shot.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot. And no less, Billy Gover stays right with him, takes his spare.
Well, Ali Ross, that was what you'd call a TV shot. That's when you want to have the instant replay for sure.
What an exhibition. Okay, we can see Ali strung out 3 earlier. He'd like to string out 3 or 4 more now. Very smooth, very smooth. Look at that. Alley's down, 7-pin drop. Billy Gover fires on Fred. 8-pin drop. So New Hampshire picks up 1 pin in that exchange.
It almost seems like a finesser against a cranker here.
Well, Alley's going to have to finesse this one. Gary's got the 2, 4, and 6 pin. He's got to be inside on the 2 pin. He's inside.
Oh, nice try.
Fine try. Billy Gover has the deadwood to channel the ball in. And there's the heat. Oh. Crowd with their heart in their mouth. Gary after that one.
Well, Bill, you got to feel that was almost a gimme that Bill Gover missed. 8-pin break in deadwood, and not the kind of breaks you want to miss, especially at this stage of the match. But it's a big break for the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics, that's for sure. As Ali Ross, what's his 10? He's 104 after 8 frames.
Okay, here's Ray Macisaac, only 5 over par, Gary, or as the boys from Bang would say, 5 over par.
And Ray started out with that big strike with 9 on it. You got to look for him to get going somewhere around here.
There's Ray with a 3 and 1, 7-pin drop. John Thomas, an 8-pin drop. Okay, we've got Ray with the 3 and 1, Gary the 5, 8, 9, and the 10-pin. He's got a deadwood, but I think you'll see Ray probably play that 5-pin on the left-hand side. He's studying it. There we go. And he played the 5-pin. John Thomas will try the 5-pin on the right-hand side, and a good try at that, too. Both good attempts, Gary.
Yes, 2 fine tries there.
Each pin is very important now, Gary, now that we're down in the single numbers. Ray takes his 10. John Thomas takes a 9.
Well, Ray Macisaac with that 10, 75 after 7 frames.
Now we've got the foundation box coming home, Gary, the one everybody likes to be open with for the final push to the finish.
And I noticed the Merchants, the first 2 bowlers, none of them are open, but the leadoff bowler for New Hampshire All-Stars is open.
And Mike Poland, we've seen him load most of his marks up. Here's Raymond Macisaac. Wide to the left, but has a good spare shot. Okay, John Thomas. Wow. He's got pins all over the place, Gary. The 1 pin, the 7 pin, the 9 pin, and the 10 pin.
Very tough shot. 2 very tough shots there. As Ray's almost got to be perfect on that top pin if he wants to carve it over.
Well, if Ray can throw the ball in the 1-3 pocket, he's got a good chance of making it, Gary.
Oh,
and good try. A little light on the pocket. John Thomas is down, but as I mentioned earlier, these pins are big now, Gary.
Yes.
Every 9, every 10, every 7, every 6, they all count.
Yes, we're not talking like 40 or 50 pins now. We're talking under a 10.
Well, the Air Atlantic boys certainly have got new life for it. Oh, 9 for Ray Macisaac, and another gain of a pin.
Well, this is really going to set it up for a very interesting 3rd string. As we stated, these bowlers are bowling for $25,000 in prize money. The winner of this match is going to bowl in the championship match in the left division.
Okay, here's Tony Leblanc getting set to Gary. Tony's open on a strike. Fires down. And there's a game winner there, Gary. Steve Vadney throws down. 8-pin drop.
Okay. Well, was there ever a more timely double strike for Tony Leblanc?
Gary, with Tony Leblanc, that may not be a double strike. That may be a triple or a quad.
Yes, you know it. Tony gets 2. He wants 3.
Steve Vadney throwing down. He converts his spare. Okay, Tony had a triple strike earlier today, Gary. I was happened to be walking by, and what did he have but a 3-bagger? Okay, here we are. You can see the concentration, Gary. Throwing down. It's on the front one, just a little heavy.
Well, 3 and 1 split, so he gets
26 for that frame. Steve Vadney throws down, throws a strike. Wow, no give.
I tell you, one guy throws a strike, another guy throws a strike, spare, just incredible bowling here.
And Tony Leblanc gets some help from the ball coming back.
Oh, this might go.
The ball came back out of the pit. Gary knocked down the 2-pin and rolled over and shook the 6. And Tony makes a 10. Okay, Tony went from 75, 25 over to 130, 50 over, just in 2 frames. Gary, amazing.
It's unbelievable.
That's how quickly these guys can add the pins up.
But his opponent, Steve Vadney, take nothing away from him. He got spare strike. And Timmy Kerrigan right now, he's 92 in the 6th frame, so he's 32 pins over par.
Everybody on the Cape Breton Air Atlantics right now, Gary, are holding their breath that Lipke doesn't throw a double right back at them.
That's right. He's open on that strike, and he'll be looking for double time, and he's on the top pin.
Wow, 9-pin drop. Gary, isn't that fantastic bowling?
Just unbelievable, and you got to figure Tim Lipke's going to make this for a spare. And his opponent, Timmy Kerrigan here in lane 10, he has a very tough 2-1 split here. Very tough shot.
Timmy Kerrigan was on the front pin, Gary, just a little heavy in the 1-3 pocket. He's down. Lovely try. Lovely try. Difficult shot. Lipke's throwing down. And right on the 7 pin.
Well, Tim Lipke just does not miss those single pins.
Tim the Machine Lipke, Gary. I can't remember in my career seeing anybody any better.
No, that's for sure. Well, Tim Lipke impressed me when we were down in Bangor, and buddy on my team, J.C. Campbell, said, well, holler at him. We hollered at him the first frame. He missed a 9-pin break. He proceeded to bowl a 452 against us. I said, I'll never holler at him again.
Here he is again on the front pin, 8-pin drop. Well, as I mentioned earlier in the match, Gary, we bowled the same gentleman in Bangor. He had a 458 against our team, the Ashby Schooners.
Well, he gets 8 on that spare. And Timmy Kerrigan over lane 10. What a horrendous break. The 4, 7, 5, and 10. There's not a piece of dead wood to throw. This is you almost got to play this for a 9. Not much else you can do.
Well, if there were any other frame but the 8th, Gary, he would play it for 9, but I think he's going to try to pull something out of his little bag of tricks here, and he's got to go. He wants a spare. It's very important to have a spare here. Okay, here we are. He delivers. And a good try.
Yes, good effort.
Okay,
try to cut that 4 pin over onto the 5.
Okay, here's Lipke throwing it to 2-8, and right on the front one, and he misses as well.
Well, Bill, this should be very interesting when we get a count here after these 2 bowlers finish. We'll get a count here after 8 frames and see just how close this match is. The thing about it, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantic, Bill, they do not have a mark open in the 8th frame. That's got to be tough for them. But the New Hampshire All-Stars do, and one of those marks is right here. As Mike Poulin is open in the 8th frame.
Here's our count, Gary. 23, 40 pins that the Merchants have back.
40 pins, so they're only down 10 pins in a match. But their opponents are opening 2 marks, and one of them's right here. So it's up to 16 pins right now.
16 pins is the difference, Gary.
And they still have that big strike of Steve Vadney is open in the 8th frame.
Okay, Ray Macisaac down, a little wide on the left. Poulin delivers. Pulls out the 4 pins, so he's looking at a possible 7 box, which would certainly help Kansas, though, if Kansas can convert the 4 horsemen. Throws down on the head pin, cuts out the 1-3. Poulin takes your 9. Kansas looking for 10 in this frame. 10 it is. Plus 15 New Hampshire.
Plus they're open on a mark. The Kansas and them, they're looking for a mark or 2. Even keep it at 10 or 15 pins is not too bad as we have 1 string left in this match.
Mike Poulin throws down, busts out the middle.
It's every frame being so important here. Now if Kansas can get a mark in this, he'll cut it under 10 pins.
Well, you remember these guys can all throw doubles and triple strikes, Gary, so anything can happen with this one. Kansas is down on the head pin. Wow, 9/10 of a strike. Okay, Mike Poulin delivers.
This is a 9-pin break Kansas wants, Bill. He's been guilty of missing about 3 of them so far in 2 strings. But
critical
critical
box, Gary. And Kansas converts. Big shots to Kansas. Okay, Mike Poulin throws down 7. Down to 12 pins, Gary, and a mark each.
A mark each. Well, that's a big spear for Kansas now and gives them a big confidence booster, too, going into that 3rd string after making that 9-pin break.
Okay, Kansas lays this ball in. There could be a difference of 2 in the match, Gary. Kansas throws down 8, which gives New Hampshire 4-pin lead. 4 pins.
Well, Bill Gulver getting up here. His team's up 4 pins, and he's got to be feeling the pressure a little bit. As they head 50 pins after the 1st string and coming into the homeward stretch here in the 2nd, it's only 4 pins.
Billy Gulver throws. He's on the front one. Did you notice all the New Hampshire bowlers, Gary, they're heavy on the front pin. Just a little bit bad luck. Ali Ross delivers. Ali's where he's supposed to be. Now there's some bad luck, Gary. That's the same break Ray Macisaac had, the 5, the 8, the 9, and the 10, but Ali's got a piece of wood there. I don't know if it's going to be any help to him or not. We get a shot at the back camera.
Well,
Billy Glover throws, cuts 2 of the left.
I almost think Alley's going to go up high on it.
There we are. That's a tough. It was an easy break to get 3, Gary,
Yes.
but a hard break to get 4. If he went down low, he'd leave the 8 pin. If he went high, he'd leave just what he probably left there was the 10 pin. But we can gain 2 more here, Gary. Okay, Alley's trying to pick up the 10 pin. Throws down, and 10 it is. Okay, 2 pins in the difference, Gary.
2 pins.
New Hampshire with a 2-pin advantage.
And New Hampshire got that big strike open. Their 4th bowler is opening that big strike.
I think what Cape Breton Merchant Atlantics is doing now is trying to hold the fort until they get to Tony Leblanc to see if Tony can work some of his New Brunswick magic. Alley throws down, 8-pin drop.
Well, this is a shot we've seen Alley make only a few frames ago. But he has a little bit of different deadwood here this time.
Okay, Billy Glover throwing at the triangle. Bang, wide to left. Okay, Alley will try to get over to the left-hand tip of that, Gary, and get a spin into the 5-pin and carry it into the 10. There he goes, left-hand tip. Very, very close.
Well, if he would have made that, he would have put his team in the pluses for the first time in this match.
Billy Glover takes a 9. Alley takes a 10, 1 pin in the difference. Gary, New Hampshire All-Stars +1 on Cape Breton Air Atlantic Merchant.
Well, John Thomas getting up here in lane 10. Currently, he's 88 in the 8th frame. His opponent, Ray Macisaac, is 84 in the 8th frame.
Okay, John Thomas throws down, off to the right, gets a 7-pin break. Okay, here's Ray Macisaac, 84 after 8. Ray wants something here, Gary.
Yes.
Okay, 6-pin drop. John Thomas throws down on the front one, takes the front pin out, Gary. Ray knows the importance of this break. Oh, tough break, Raymond. Takes 3 out. Okay, John throws down, takes his 10.
With that 10, John Thomas, 98 after 9 frames. Ray be looking also for a 10. 1-pin match. Bill couldn't get any closer than that.
Setting up a great finish, isn't it?
That's for sure.
But we're talking 1 pin right now. Before we get finished, it could be 20 or 30 or 40 pins before it's
Yes.
over. For either team, take your pick.
And this is only our first match in the series. As we stated, our next match we're going to have O'Loughlin from Massachusetts against Alfie's Club 57. And that's going to be a championship match in the other division. And the winner of this is going to bowl against Charlie Milan's main heat.
Fantastic bowling, Gary. Okay, John Thomas getting set, throws down, bang on the front one, 9-pin drop with a great piece of wood in front of the 4-pin, Gary. You got to think he's going to take this one in. Here's Raymond now throwing on the front pin and a 6-pin break, but excellent coverage with the wood.
Well, should be 2 spares here, but John Thomas is a bit easier.
Well, I think we'd both rather shoot at John's than Ray's.
Oh, for sure. And John's on it. He
Right
has
on the pin. Right on the pin. Ray being very deliberate. Throws down.
Nice.
Oh, horrendous luck. Left the 10-pin.
Yes, that stubborn 10-pin in the corner.
Yeah.
Still, Ray will try for a 10. Keep it at a 1-pin game.
Every pin big at this stage now, Gary. Okay, we had... okay, Ray makes a spare, so it's 1 plus a spare ball and 2 balls on Steve Vadney's strike. John Thomas throws on the front one. And 8-pin drop, Gary.
So that makes it 9 pins overall. And Steve Vadney getting up here in lane 10, he's open on that big strike. So he's going to add to that 9-pin lead here. But Tony Leblanc, if he has anything to say about it, he's going to cut into that 9 pins in lane 9.
Okay, this can certainly set the tone for the whole game now, Gary. If Steve loads up and Tony doesn't stay with him, it'll give New Hampshire a definite lift. Steve throws on the front one.
Double strike.
Hey, how about that?
Well, it goes from 9 pins to 19 plus in a hurry. And Tony Leblanc's off the top pin. You got to wonder if that double strike had anything to do with that.
Okay, Tony's going to bear down, throwing down. Wide to the left, Gary, and he gets a 10 for him. Tony throws down, picks up his 10.
Well, with that 10, Tony Leblanc, 140 in the 9th frame. But more importantly, his opponents open on a big double strike, and the New Hampshire All-Stars are up 19 pins. Second string of 3.
Okay, Steve has been very deliberate here. He knows the importance of the double strike and what happens when you load up on them. Of course, you count twice. Wide to the right. Okay, that's 5 more in the total, 24. Tony Leblanc is on the front one. 8-pin drop, 9-pin drop.
Well, typical shot here for Steve Vadney, Bill. Those 4 horsemen are tough enough by itself, but he has a trailer over on the right-hand side, and he only picks out 1.
So Tony can take a spare here and maybe get some back. Gary? Okay. Takes the spare. Steve Vadney takes a 6-box.
Ooh, so it's down to what, 26 pins?
24, I make it, Gary, but I may have missed 1 or 2 along the way, but I think it's 24 is
24 pins.
But Tony loads up here, and we're in the teens. Tony's down. 7, 8, 9, 10. 160 for Tony Leblanc. Very big 60.
Big string for Tony Leblanc. You can see the appreciation of the fans back there. Well, Tim Lipke's going to get up here. His team's up 14 pins, and it's so important, Bill, being up after 2 strings, going in that important final string. And Tim Lipke's going to try to keep the lead, and Timmy Kerrigan's going to try to cut into it.
Timmy Lipke throws down. 7-pin drop, 2 and 1. Tim Kerrigan is on the front one, and another bad break. But he's got some good wood there, Gary. He can get a good spin off of that wood, Timmy Kerrigan can. Timmy Lipke's got a helper in back. Throws down on the front one. There we are. How about that?
Nice shot.
How about that? Great shot by Timmy Lipke.
Well, Timmy Kerrigan wants to match that spare right here. He's got a tough shot. Ooh, he tried to split them clean, Bill. I would have thought he would have went after the deadwood.
I think that maybe he did go after the deadwood, Gary. It's hard to say, but there's where he was looking for, Gary. Right on the nose of that wood, and sure enough, he got the 10.
So it remains 14 pins, but Tim Lipke's open on that spare, and he'll be looking to put it over 20 here with 1 ball.
Okay, if Lipke loads up and gets a spare break here, it's going to be tough for the Merchants. He's on the front one. 9, 10.
And with that strike, he's 135 open on a strike, and more importantly, he puts the lead up to 24 pins. And Timmy Kerrigan has a very tough break down there.
Timmy fires wide to the right and misses it. I think you can see the emotion in Timmy Kerrigan now. Gary's
well, you know,
starting to think about what it means to miss, I guess. Or
well, Bill, Timmy Kerrigan had a 25-pin lead on Tim Lipke after 5 frames, but since the 5th frame, it's been all Tim Lipke, as he has strike spare, 10 spare strike. And Timmy Kerrigan ends up with a 129. And Timmy Kerrigan, he has 1 strike. You know he's looking for a double.
There he is on the front one. Hard to believe, Gary.
Well, it's about as close to a double as you're going to get.
That's right, yeah. Just a machine, Gary, just a machine. Just a bowling machine.
Well, he picks this up, he'll be 145. You'll only be about 303 for 2. Just another day's work, I guess.
Just another hard day at the lane.
Yes.
But I don't think it's a hard day for him. He seems to be enjoying it so much. But why wouldn't you enjoy it?
Yes. Well, big spare for Tim Lipke, and he ends up with a 145 single. We're going to pause. We're going to come back, recap the scoring, and we'll get underway with a 3rd string. We're just going to pause for a couple minutes. Back in a moment. Well, Bill, 621, 634, 37 pins overall at this stage in the match, and we have 1 string left in the competition.
Gary, the game has been ebbing and flowing. We've had the Merchants cut it down to 1 pin, and away they went and took it right back from them. So 37 is quite a few the way that New Hampshire's pumped up right now.
Strings, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics find themselves down 37 pins to the New Hampshire All-Stars of the USA. And Bill, 37 pins is going to be a lot of ground for Air Atlantics to make up here.
It sure is, Gary. New Hampshire colors are bowling there. They've got some momentum. They're pumped up. They've got confidence. They know they can make the shots, and it's going to be an uphill road for Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics to do it. But they've still got the chuckers who can do it. So they're not of this game by any stretch of the imagination.
No, that's for sure. And with that, I think we'll get Kansas Snow and Mike Poolin up to bowl the first two frames of our third string. We'll get the third string underway right here.
Okay. Do we have any lineup changes here, Gary? I noticed that we see Walter McNeil, the hard throwing right-hander from the Waterford, in this game. He's taking Ray Macisaac's place. So Walter, we know Walter can throw the big games, Gary. So Tony's Kansas is hoping from a lift from Walter.
And not only that, Bill, but Tony LeBlanc and Timmy Kerrigan have flip-flopped. As Timmy Kerrigan moves up to the fourth spot, Tony LeBlanc moves down to the anchor spot. But seems like a set lineup for New Hampshire after that second string. They're going with the same combination. No changes.
Well, that's what got them there, Gary, so you can't think of making too many moves. But I think what the thinking is that maybe LeBlanc can hold off Lipke just a bit. But I've seen a lot of guys throw against Lipke, and it didn't seem to affect them very much.
That's right.
Meanwhile, we've got Mike Poolin coming down, and his normal start, a mark.
Yes.
Kansas had a difficult 8-pin break, and pulls a 9 of it.
Well, if Cape Breton Merchants want to get back in this game, Bill, the first 4 frames are so important. They cannot be trailing after 4 frames here. They've got to cut into that deficit. You don't want to be down 40 or 50 coming into the last 4 or 6 frames.
Okay, Mike Poolin rolled, got 4 on his mark. Kansas throws down and gets the strike. Listen to the crowd, Gary. Listen to the crowd. Poolin cuts 4 more out, so he's looking at a 9.
Well, I tell you, what a big strike for Kansas Snow. And as you say, not only does it get his team going, it gets the crowd back into it, too.
Crowd are way behind the Merchants. Gary just backing them right to the end.
Well, right now, I get 40 pins overall, but the Merchants open on that big strike. And Allie Ross getting up here in lane 10 for the Cape Breton Air Atlantic Merchants.
Well, we've got Allie, smooth Allie against Billy the strike cover.
Yes. As Billy, since the second frame or the second string, I don't think he's had a strike since then. But he hasn't been as deadly on the top pin.
There's Allie throwing down the 1-2 pocket. Nice 7-pin drop and a good spare break. Gover throws wide to the right. And that shows you what the heat gets you, Gary. You throw a bad ball and still get you some good breaks. Allie throws down on the
nice
front
shot.
pin. Beautiful shot, Allie. And
Ooh.
Gover makes a nice try.
That was a nice try by Bill Gover, but that pin just went back at a 5-pin.
And a good 10.
So Allie Ross be looking to load up here.
I bowled with Allie in Nova Scotia Provincial Championships. Gary won the provincials one year, and Allie had set the record for the high average ever rolled in Nova Scotia Provincials. So Allie's no stranger to big matches and strong scores.
So he's a very, very capable bowler up there, and he gets a big count of 8. And not only he gets a count of 8, it's very possible spare, but Bill Gover over lane 9, he's got a mess.
Allie delivers. Hey, there he goes. There. Billy Gover throws down on the front one. Narrowly misses it again. 2 shots almost made, but almost don't count, do they?
No, definitely not. Close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Okay. Okay. Now we've got one of the Waterford natives bowling for Kansas Snow's Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics. Walter McNeil. He bowls out of Tommy McNeil's New Waterford Bowling Center house. Walter's got a lifetime high single of 192. Gary, a real strike artist. High single this year, 175. Lifetime high triple, 475.
Well, if anybody can turn this match around, it's Walter McNeil, as he can string them along. He gets hot. I tell you, he can string 5, 6 along, no problem.
Okay, there's Walter throwing down the 2-pin, gets a spare break for his efforts. John Thomas gets a 6-pin break. There's Walter on the shot. Hey, how's that for relief?
And Walter's showing a lot of emotion up there, too. With that spare, he gets the crowd into it.
John Thomas takes his 9.
Well, I tell you, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics, Bill, 5 frames, they have 4 marks. And what a way to come out of the gate.
It's going to be a big, big lift for them.
as their opponents only have one mark, and that mark that they have, they only got 4 on it.
Okay, here's Walter now. Walter's going to be looking for that 1-3 pocket. Gary's got a devastating ball when he's in that 1-3 pocket. He's down, crosses over to the left, misses wide, comes out with an 8-pin break. John Thomas answers the call with his own 8-pin break right back again.
Well, Walter leads the 1-3. Just wants to hit the top pin. He should have a spare. John Thomas, very routine shot. 2 in the corner, Deadwood line right across it.
There's Walters, and misses a bit to the left, Gary. John Thomas throws down. Bingo.
These are the marks, Bill, you got to have.
Yeah. Well, remember, Walter has sat 2 strings out, come in cold, and he's not into the flow of the game yet, but short, great start, 28 for 2. That's a 140 pace.
For sure, for sure.
Okay.
Timmy Kerrigan getting up here now. He ball anchored the first 2 strings, so a little bit of strategy by Captain Kansas Snow here to try to shake his team up a bit.
Well, Gary, it's almost like getting the frying pan right into the fire, going from Tim Lipke to Steve Vadney. Steve has just been a dynamo up there as well. Here's Timmy with a 7-pin break. Vadney throws down on the front one and cuts out 5. Cuts out 6.
Well, okay. Timmy Kerrigan, routine shot for him. He has the cloverleaf. Piece of Deadwood in behind. Just wants to split any 2 of them. Should have a spare.
As much it will help his own self-confidence to make it, Gary. And there you are, wide on the right.
Well, that's a tough break for Timmy Kerrigan. I thought that shot was gone.
Well, we know, Gary, it's close, but it wasn't hit. Okay, there's Vadney trying to stay away from a bad frame. Timmy throws down and gets his 10. Vadney takes a 9. Even if that is still a gain, Gary. More importantly, it may not be a spare or a strike, but it's still a gain.
That's for sure. 37 pins, I tell you, it's not a lot. And it's not 37 pins now after...
Timmy throws. He's on the front one. 7-pin drop. Difficult shot.
Oh, very difficult. He leads the 4, the 7, and a 5-pin. And he almost has to be perfect on that 4-pin and cut it across there. Well, meanwhile, Steve Vadney, down the side, he leaves himself the 1-pin and a 9-pin. Just wants to punch that 1-pin straight back.
Well, there's justice again, Gary. Timmy blows the 1-2-3 pocket away and comes up with nothing. And Steve throws a ball out in right field and comes out with a lovely 8-pin break. Okay. Timmy's looking for the outside of that 6-pin or 4-pin rather. He wanted to play it off the 4. Vadney misses on a little to the right. Good try. Timmy was trying to bank that 4-pin off the 7, Gary, off the kick pad and come back across and take off the... And a pair of 9s, so he didn't lose anything there.
No. Well, this should be a good matchup here, Bill. Tim Lipke, Tony Leblanc, 2 chuckers here.
Well, arguably, Gary could have the 2 best bowlers in the world right here against each other on our bowling show right here. Tony LeBlanc throws a strike. How about that?
Big strike, Tony LeBlanc. Tim Lipke misses the top pin. He leaves himself an 8-pin break. The 1-pin and the 8-pin. He almost has to be dead center, Bill, on that head pin here and punches straight back into the 9-pin. Nice shot.
Lipke answers the call. Gary, we can see 20 marks in a row here, Gary, with both of these fellas.
Yes. Tell you, 2 explosive bowlers, that's for sure. These matches here, you almost have more marks than you have non-marks.
That's really, Gary. I think there's more black spots up there. I hope they have a backup marker because I don't know if there's enough ink in one of those markers. Okay, Tony LeBlanc getting set to bowl.
Looking for a double time.
On the headpin. Timmy Lipke.
Lipke, big count of 8 on that spare. And Tony LeBlanc leaves himself the 1, the 7, 6, and 10 pin.
Okay, there's Tony down on it. Good try. Got the ball skating across the plate. Lipke throws at his 8-pin drop and takes it in. Timmy Lipke throwing just a little harder than Tony LeBlanc, Gary. I just timed the both of them, and Tony's throwing about 59 kilometers an hour, which is around 37 miles an hour, and Timmy Lipke is about 65 kilometers, which is 41 miles an hour.
They're both hard chuckers, that's for sure.
They both okay. Okay, here's the guy that's been a big lift for New Hampshire, Mike Poulin, Gary, and is in the approach. And on the right.
Well, look at the scoreboard there, Bill. 15 pins back already for the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantic, so it's only 22 pins. The Kansas open on a strike. He misses the top pin, but hey, he gets himself a nice break.
Spare break. 7-pin drop. Poland throws down wide on the left. Okay. Kansas can put it handy to teens now, Gary.
Well, Kansas makes this. He can almost put it under 10 with what he gets on it.
Very deliberate. Here he goes. On the front one. And just a little heavy. But I noticed Kansas bounced that ball at the foul line, Gary, so he's not getting his normal smooth ball up there.
Well, the first ball that he threw, Billy, also bounced that, too. Might be having a little problem with the approaches. He ends up with a 10. With that 10, 38 after 3 frames.
Okay, there's Mike Poland throwing down, 8-pin drop, looking for a 9-pin, looking for a strike.
Well, Mike Poland there, Billy, missed the top pin. He had the 4 horsemen and 2 him back. 4 horsemen kicked out, came over, carried to the end 2. Big strike.
Okay.
And that's one thing we haven't seen yet. That's the first strike we've seen in this match that the bowler did not hit the top pin. As most bowlers have been right over the top pin. Kansas hits the top pin, he leaves the 5 in the corner.
Well, here's Kansas trying to make the spare on the front one and cuts out 3. Back to the previous box, Gary, we thought it was a 10, but Kansas quickly told the scorekeeper it was a 9. He just touched the deadwood, I guess, and it was that close that Kansas, being the sportsman he is, called a 9.
Well, Kansas ends up with an 80, 45 after 4 frames. Now we'll get Billy Gover up in lane 10. He's 19 after 2 frames, but Ali Ross falling in lane 9. He started out spare 8 spare. Now he has a little something going here, Bill.
Billy Gover is getting set. He fires on the 1-3 and leaves 2 on the left and 2 on the right. Ali Ross is on the front one. 6-pin drop, 3 and 1. Bad luck for Ali. Okay, now. We know that Gover's going to go for the tip, probably the right-hand tip, Gary. I wouldn't be surprised, but there we go. Down the right-hand side, just got a little too high. Ali's trying for spare, narrowly missed on the right.
Well, for any viewers that did tune in late, this is the 1991 Labatt Lite World Candlepin Bowling Championships. This is the semifinal action from our left division. As the winner of this match is going to bowl against Charlie Milan's main heat. And the winner of that will bowl against the winner of the right division. The winner of the right division will be determined when O'Loughlin's of the States bowls against Alfie's Club 57 from the States. $25,000 in prize money at stake here. We are in the 3rd match with New Hampshire All-Stars leading the Cape Breton Mercenary Atlantics by 37 pins coming into the 3rd string.
Right you are, Gary, and Billy Gover's picked up a 7-pin break, a 2 and 1. Ali Ross has picked up a 5-pin break, 4 and 1. Neither one had very sparable shots. Here's Ali trying for his down the left-hand side.
Ooh.
And ball came back, took out the 7-pin, but he still has the 6-pin for the 10. There's Billy Gover making a 9. You're right when you say world, Gary. We've got teams from Cape Breton, teams from mainland Nova Scotia, teams from New Brunswick, teams from Maine, teams from New Hampshire, teams from Massachusetts. Everywhere Candlepin bowling is, Gary, they're represented by their best bowlers. They've all looked forward to this. Everybody plans their year vacation around this World Candlepin Bowling Championship.
The scores all week down here have been incredible, indicative of a World Championship event.
John Thomas wide on the right, Gary. He was opening a spare and got 5 on it. Walter McNeil is on the left and picks out 2. This week, Gary, we've had record-high triples. The opening first match on the first day, Bob Kelly bowling for Lidl Lanes set the new high triple, a 470. Bowled against my team, unfortunately, Cape Breton Hydraulics, but right from there, then Sheldon Covey took over high triple, and finally Mike Lawrence, one of our Glace Bay bowlers, was bowling for Cape Breton Homeboys, set the new standard of 484. Tremendous.
Yes, it's funny, Bob Kelly, 470 first match against you guys, and then that score had been bettered about 5 times after that.
That's right.
And him with the 470, he only ended up with about 6 high triple.
Okay, John Thomas delivers. 8-pin drop. 3-pin and the 6-pin. Walter McNeil, heavy on the head pin, leaves the 5-10. Bad luck, Walter.
Well, if you're John Thomas, you got it like this. You get an 8-pin breaks, 2 pins together. Walter gets them really far apart, and John Thomas has it.
Thomas converts his. Walter throws down, and a nice try. Tommy Campbell bowling for Cape Breton Hydraulics, Gary, and he had a 451 on Tuesday, and it didn't make the top 10 as far as triples go. So there's more than 10 triples over 451, if you can imagine.
Yes, hard to believe. And high single bowled in the tournament was bowled by Tony Leblanc of Cape Breton Merchant Atlantic, a whopping 192 single. Just incredible bowling. And wouldn't he love to have a piece of that single right here?
Well, we had a 192 high single, Gary. Second high single was 190, and third high single was 189. Timmy Kerrigan is bowling, 6-pin drop, a 3-1. Timmy's not pleased with that. Steve Vadney, very steady. Off on the right-hand side, he's up with a 6-pin drop.
Well, you got to, if you're Steve Vadney, you got to like your break as opposed to Timmy Kerrigan. All you got to do actually is hit the head pin, split the 1-2, you'll have a spare. Timmy's got to be perfect on this 3-1, and nice try.
Vadney misses a little to the left.
Well, both bowlers playing for 10 here. And right now, I see the New Hampshire All-Stars have 3 marks open, and the Cape Breton Merchant Atlantic have not any mark open. So it's time for the Cape Breton Merchant Atlantic. They want to get back in this match, Bill. They need some marks, and they need them in a hurry.
Well, the thing is, Gary, Cape Breton had 5 marks to 3 for New Hampshire. Now it's standing 6 marks to 5. So
well,
New Hampshire's picked up 3 marks to none for the Merchants.
Well, the Merchants have gone 8 frames without their mark. But Timmy Kerrigan's going to try to change that right here with 1.
Okay, Timmy finally has a spare break, Gary, after all this horrendous splits. But Steve Vadney keeping the pressure on. He's got a 9-pin drop to 7-pin.
Well, 2 potential spares here.
Okay, both should convert, Gary. Here's Timmy delivering. Misses to the right, so there we are, several bad breaks, and finally get something to spare up, and it gets difficult. Steve Vadney, steady Steve, I guess they call him.
Well, with that, the New Hampshire All-Stars, 4 marks open.
It appears the tide is turning here, Gary. It's Cape Breton right now needs a real spark to come along.
And they need to get that right here from their big gun, Tony Leblanc.
Well,
he's really the trigger man on this team. But his opponent, Tim Lipke, hey, starts out with spare 8 spare.
Doesn't give you much room to breathe, does he?
That's for sure. You got to get marks just to keep up with him, let alone cutting into the deficit.
Well, I guess they're both handy 300 for 2, Gary. Some of us have hard enough time getting 300 for 3, and the both of them are handy 300 for 2. Lipke throws down. I'm getting bored saying he's splitting the 1-2 pocket again because that's where every ball seems to go. Tony Leblanc right behind him with right on the front one again, and another striker for Tony Leblanc.
Big strike.
Lipke throws down. Ooh. Hits the front pin. Just a little too accurate.
Well, Tony Leblanc, anytime he throws 1 strike, you know he can throw a double just like that.
And there's Lipke extending a hand of congratulations to Tony Leblanc. He knows what a competitor Leblanc is.
Yes.
That says a lot for himself, too, Tony. Gary, a big match like this, and yet the boys are still shaking hands.
There's a lot of tension in the air here.
Lipke gets set, delivers, down, bang on the head pin again. A bit heavy. There's Tony wanting to, there's the glare. Lets her go. Bang on the front one. 7, 8. 8-pin drop. 7-pin and a 10-pin. He's got a wood he can use, Gary, so he's not counting it out yet.
Well, that's about the only good thing about this shot.
Timmy Lipke, a little... Okay, I think you'll see him go on that right-hand tip of that wood, Gary, and see if he can't get a spin on it. Bang! Look at that.
Nice shot. Nice
Tremendous shot, Gary. Tremendous shot.
Well, that's the spark that the Cape Breton Merchant Atlantics need, as they got the tomahawk chop going in back with the crowd. They got them singing. They got everybody into this, and that's what they needed.
Just in case I don't know my left and my right, Gary, I would have played that one on the right one. I thought that's where Tony was going, but Tony showed us the way the great guys do it.
Well, when you got about 132 average, you played them where you want.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Kansas Snow, 45 in the 4th frame, Bill, and I really got to feel that he's got to get her going here. As right now we look on the monitor, 23 pins off that deficit, so it is only 14 pins overall. But New Hampshire All-Stars are open on 3 marks as opposed to 1. And one of those marks is right there. Mike Coleman takes 2, but he has another ball because he's bowling on a strike.
Okay, Kansas has pulled 4 out of the middle. He's down. Hey, how about that for a shot, Gary?
Whoa.
Mike Coleman gets 6 on the strike.
So Mike Coleman
shots by Kansas Snow.
And with Mike Coleman only getting 6 on that strike, that evens the marks up. As now New Hampshire have 2 marks open, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics have 2 marks open, and it's only around 20 pins in the difference.
Okay, Kansas certainly made the shots that can light the fire, Gary. 3 and 3, tremendous. There's Kansas on the front one again. 9-pin drop. Tremendous.
Kansas, big 9-pin break in Deadwood. And you can see the tension on Kansas' face here. He wants this and he wants it big.
Must-have shot, Kansas. Now, Kansas seems to have his game going now, Gary. We get Timmy Kerrigan to pick his up.
Well, Kansas missed a 9-pin break again, Bill. That's the 4th one he's missed in this match so far.
Hey, look at that.
Mike Coleman takes it right away from him, converts a nice shot for a spare.
How quickly that game changes. My goodness gracious. Kansas missed that. Big lift for Mike, and then all of a sudden, bingo. Mike takes on with an impossible shot.
That could almost be a turning point in this match.
Well, the guys from New Hampshire jumped up off the seat, Gary, and just were very elated over that.
Yes,
they got a big lift from it.
Well, that was a huge mark. And right now, Ali Ross getting up here, 51 in the 4th, but his team's down about 12 pins in this match.
There's Ali delivering, little to the left. Billy Gover, same place on the 2-pin. And Billy has a cluster there. Ali has the Horseman plus the 8-pin. Ali's going to be handy and cuts up 3. Bill Gover delivers on the front one, and another spare.
Well, you see once again, as soon as the Cape Breton Merchants get close in the striking range, New Hampshire All-Stars start to mark.
That's right, Gary. And that shows you what a championship team can do, Gary. When they're threatened, they just seem to reach down, pick up a little extra, and get the job done. Ali on the front pin, an 8-pin drop. Billy Gover wide to the right, 4 on the spare.
Well, if you Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics, you got it like that, only 4 on the spare. And Ali Ross with a nice 8-pin break. And I would say, Bill, he's got to make this. This here is almost a crucial spare here. And he has it.
Hey, crucial not so much for Ali, Gary, but crucial for the Merchants, the Air Atlantics. They need those spares just for the mental lift. Now, this game here, as long as you're within 30 or 40 pins, Gary, there's 5 guys in that Merchant team that can throw a double or a triple strike.
That's right.
Not that they want to put themselves in that position, but...
Well, here's a cranker getting up here in lane 10, Bill.
Okay, Walter started out spare 8, and he's petered off a bit since then, but Walter's looking to pick up. Blasted on the head pin. Left with a 3 and 1. A little heat comes in, and he's got an 8-pin break.
Well, an 8-pin break, I almost think that he's got to go way down to the right. Try to spin that around, either right, either end.
With the left-hand tip, Gary, it'll push it straight back. I think you'll see him going for the right-hand tip, and he hits it on the red line, which drives it straight back. No help, Walter.
But his opponent, John Thomas, he punched right through the head pin, so no mark over there in lane 9.
Well, just as importantly, though, Gary, he hasn't got a bad frame, and right now, New Hampshire counting frames to the end.
That's right.
If they can tie each frame, they'll be quite content.
Well, right now, we're at the halfway point of our 3rd string. So we're in a homeward stretch right now.
There's Walter delivering. He's got the ball a little wide to the left. He gets a 5-pin drop, a good break, and John Thomas has a 7-pin drop. Both very makeable, Gary.
Yes. All Walter McNeil wants to do here is split the 1-3, has nice deadwood coverage and back, should carry it right through. And it looks good, and he's on it. Big
Walter makes his. Big shot by Walter McNeil. John Thomas makes his.
Well, I tell you, nobody's giving nothing up here. And we have a little substitute coming in here, Bill. We have Tony White coming in for Timmy Kerrigan. And this here's a little move here that might spark the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics.
Well, they're in a position now that they need a lift, Gary, and Tony's balls out of Yarmouth. He's got a high single of 199, so you know he can throw them. He's got a high triple of 470 and a league average of 125. Tony's one of the top bowlers we have down Yarmouth, down the South Shoreway, Gary. He's no strange to competitions. Right. 8-pin drop. And gets right back in the game and picks up Timmy Kerrigan. What a lift.
Well, his opponent, Steve Vadney, was open on a mark. He got a count of 8. He's got an 8-pin break here. Ooh.
Oh.
He's too dead on the 5-pin, so he'll have to play for 10. And what a break for the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics. Tony Leblanc comes in cold off the bench, picks up a nice 8-pin break, big spare, and Steve Vadney misses his.
Okay, Gary, Tony White getting set to ball again.
Well, right now, Bill, the Merchant Air Atlantics are opening up 4 marks.
There's Tony White looking for a big count, Gary. Throws down, he's on the front one. 6-pin drop, but a tough shot. Steady Steve Vadney. Down, 6-pin break, the 4 horsemen, and he's got a wood in behind the 4-pin, should hold it in, which makes it a spare ball one.
A tough shot for Tony White here. Ooh, nice try.
Tony going for the tip of the wood and narrowly missed. There's Steve Vadney throwing. Hey!
Ooh.
Almost like a pitch out, Gary.
Well, Steve Vadney ends up with a 7.
Tony looking for it. Tony White takes a safe 8 to gain a pin.
Well, Tony Leblanc getting up here, Bill. Started out strike, 8 on it with a 9, then a strike, a 9-pin break, which he converted for a spare. So right now he's 57, plus the ball open. And he'll be looking for another 9 or 10 on this spare here.
Here we go. A little to the left. Hey, there's that working ball, Gary. 8-pin drop, 1-3. Tim Lipke throws down on the head pin. 7-pin drop.
You can see the action on Tim Lipke's ball. He had a 5-pin break, and next thing you know, wood comes out of nowhere, knocks 2 more down. Ends up with a wired shot.
Oh, Tony Leblanc takes the head pin out of the 8-pin break.
Ooh.
And they both hit the head pin and the front pin on their spare breaks, Gary, and both of them left the pin, so I guess those 2 frames evened out.
Well, Bill, I tell you, it'll be very interesting when we get a count after both of these bowlers bowl their 6th frame, as both teams have 2 marks open. And I tell you, this game is tightening up.
Okay, they both picked up 10s in the 5th frames, Gary, and they're looking for the 6th. Tony Leblanc 75 after 6, and Timmy Lipke 65 after 5. Tony's on the front one, another 8-pin drop, 9, 8-pin drop. Timmy Lipke back on the front one, 7-pin drop, but a very tough shot. Okay, Tony can make this by hitting the 5-pin, Gary, or if he misses it on the left and he just hits the 8-pin, he'll make the spare as well. Bang, oh, there we go. And there's the crowd going again. Cape Breton Air Atlantic Merchants, 3 open. Timmy Lipke on the front pin, but just gets the 1.
Well, Tim Lipke playing for a 9 or 10. And he'll have to settle for a 9.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantic have 3 marks open. New Hampshire All-Stars have 2 marks open. And one of those marks that New Hampshire have open is right here. Mike Coleman, he's open, getting up in lane 10. And right now, looking at the monitor, 27 pins off that 37. So the Merchants are down 10 pins, Bill, plus they're open on an extra mark.
Okay, that 10 just went to 16, Gary. Mike Poland being one of the New Hampshire marks. Converted 6 on his. Kansas down. 8-pin drop.
16 pins, but the Merchants have 2 extra marks, so you almost got to think it's a tie game. And look at this. Mike Poland went over the foul line, so he loses a pin.
Okay, that was the first time this week I've seen that. Kansas, that was Gary. Kansas had an 8-pin break and just a little good try, but a little wide. There's an 8 box for Mike Poland.
The Kansas ends up with a 10.
Kansas.
So 14 pins, Bill. Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics right now are down 14 pins, but they have 3 marks open. And the New Hampshire All-Stars only have 1 mark open.
Tie game, Gary.
It's a virtually tie game, yes. Yeah. And as Mike Coleman feeling the heat, he punches through 2 on the 3-pin.
There's Kansas firing down on the front pin, 7-pin drop. Kansas, he's got to be making his spares, Gary. You can't keep missing.
So
Mike Poland getting out of trouble.
What a big lift for the Merchants if Kansas can make this a Cloverleaf here.
Well, that'll put them in the driver's seat at that point, Gary, with 4 marks to 1. Kansas wide on the right.
Well,
Mike
Kansas
Coleman
can make 10. He can cut the deficit down to 13, but he had a chance really to cut it down under that. And he has 13 pins. And Ali Ross getting up here in lane 9. He's open on a mark.
Okay, Kansas 93 after 8, 13 over. Mike Poulin 88. Okay, Allie's looking to bury this, Gary. Here's Billy Gover delivering. On the 2-pin, gets a 7-pin, 9-pin drop.
9-pin breaking down. But Billy Govern has not been sharp on that top pin, Bill, since the first string.
Hey, there's a big 9-pin drop, Gary.
Cut the deficit.
9 on Allie Ross's mark. Spare for Gover.
Well, that cuts the deficit down to 4 pins. 4 pins, and Ali Ross has a chance for a spare here. If he's the 5-pin, what a mark this would be.
Bingo! Bingo! There's Ali Ross at his best, Gary. Big match, big shot, comes through in a big way.
Well, 4 pins. Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics have 3 marks open. New Hampshire All-Stars have 2 marks open. Whoa, you couldn't write it any better than this.
Billy Gover on his mark, throws down on the head pin, 6-pin drop, and a fairly good spare shot for him. Ali throwing down on the front one as usual, 7-pin drop.
Down to 3 pins.
And most importantly, another good spare break. Billy Gover misses to the left, comes out smelling like a rose.
3 pins, and what a big mark of Ali Ross.
Ali knows the importance of this one. He's going to be handy. How about that, Gary? When the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Big shot, Ali Ross. And with that mark, he keeps his team open on 3 marks as opposed to 1 to the opponent. And Bill, I almost got a figure right now. Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics are in the driver's seat here.
They certainly are, Gary. They certainly are. They've got 3 big open marks.
So 3 pins in the difference here. And Walter McNeil's open on a mark here. Also, his opponent, John Thomas, is also open on a mark.
Okay. Now, you know Walter can throw strikes. John Thomas has been on the right-hand side of the head pin quite a bit. Coming down. Heavy on the front one. 7-pin drop. Walter throws down on the head pin. 6-pin drop.
So put the lead up to 4 pins.
John Thomas misses to the right.
Well, Walter McNeil, big shot here. He can put his team in the lead if he can convert this spare.
He's got a difficult shot here, Gary. The diamond +1. Heavy on it. Okay, there's a 9. Walter wants a 9 to keep the margin at 4. 9 for Walter.
Well, with that 9, stays at 4 pins. But 4 pins, Bill. New Hampshire All-Stars do not have a mark open at this point.
And Cape Breton Air Atlantic Merchants have 2 open, Gary, so. Okay, there's an 8-pin drop, the 1-pin, the 8-pin. Walter throws down, blasts the front pin, and leaves that 2 and 1 again. Hard shot.
Yes.
He's got a wood over on the 7-pin side, Gary, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see him go fishing in that one.
I would almost think he's going to shoot that wood, Bill.
Thomas throws down, narrowly misses. Here's Walter throwing. Oh, bad ball, Gary.
Well, you see here in the 8th frame, Bill, the New Hampshire All-Stars, 3 of the bowlers have completed the 8th frame, and not 1 of them are open.
And Walter takes his 9, so we go to -5 for Cape Breton. New Hampshire is up 5. Now we've got the replacement for Timmy Kerrigan, Tony White bowling against Steve Vadney. Tony come in, first box, threw a spare.
And right now, Timmy Kerrigan, Tony White combination are 60 after 6. Steve Vadney, 61 after 6. It's a close match going between these two.
Yeah, here's Vadney throwing down. Wide to the left, Gary. Tony White on the head pin. 7, 8. 8-pin drop. Normally those 2 together are a difficult break, Gary, but he's got some good wood holding it in. Steve Vadney had an extra pin pile, so he's looking at 3 to make. Wide to the right.
Well, this shot should go pretty quick for Tony White, Bill. I almost think if he goes right at those 2, or even to the left of that the double pin, this should go.
Well, here we go. He's on it. Yes. What a big mark. What a big mark.
Well, right now, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics are opening 3 marks, and they're only down 3 pins, even if they got 1. And as we stated, this is for the right to bowl in the finals of the left division. If they win this match, there's only 4 teams left in this here World Candlepin Bowling Championships.
Okay, Steve Vadney going again. Steve heavy on the head pin, leaves 4 and 1. Difficult shot. Gary Tony White on a crucial spare here. Let's go. He's in the center of the alley on the head pin. 7, 8. What a huge, huge count.
Well, Bill, for the first time in this match, the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics find themselves on the receiving end of a plus.
Steve Vadney almost makes an impossible shot. Well, Gary, I hope our figures are right, because I've got +5 right now for Cape Breton.
I would say there's a 99% chance to right on.
Hey, Tony Leblanc has another one. 2 big marks open going home for Cape Breton Merchant Atlantics. And 1 pole still to be heard from Tony Leblanc.
Well, I tell you, what a big ball coming up here for Tony Leblanc, because you know, as I know, Tony Leblanc could throw a strike on this spear at any moment, Bill. And if he does, he has a chance to put the lead up over 20 pins.
That's right, Gary.
And after these 2 bowlers, we're in the home way. We're stretched. We only have 2 frames left for each bowler.
And on the other side of the coin, Timmy Lipke can throw a double or triple strike, and he just fired 1 right away. Tony Leblanc bearing down. He's in the center of the alley. Throws the strike. How about that, Gary? Isn't this amazing? I'd like to hear what Don Cherry would have to say about a rock'em sock'em game like this, eh?
Well, the crowd says it all here.
No quarter asked, no quarter given, Gary. Just great bowling here at Heather Bowling Lanes in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Timmy Lipke's going down in the center of the alley on the front pin. Wow, 8-pin drop, 5-pin, 8-pin. Tony Leblanc is getting set. Winds up, delivers on the front one. 7-pin drop.
Just incredible bowling here. 15 pins overall. Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics.
Timmy Lipke converts.
Big spear coming up for Tony Leblanc here, Bill.
So we're down to 5-pin advantage for the Merchants. Tony fires. 8 on that strike. 13 pins for the Merchants.
And the Merchants are open on 2 marks. New Hampshire All-Stars are open on 1.
Okay, Tony Leblanc.
Well, we'll get the official count any moment here up on the screen, Bill, but I've got to believe we're correct in our assumption that it is 13 pins.
Okay, we've got 2 boxes to go on both strings, Gary, and I can't help but thinking that both Tony Leblanc and Timmy Lipke are both well over 400 now.
Oh, definitely.
We're talking 430s, 440s, 450s. Okay, Mike Coleman, Kansas Snow. The last 2 frames for the 1991 World Championship Bowling semifinals for the left division.
Well, look on the monitor there, Bill. Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics have 51 pins this string, minus the 37, so it's 14 pins overall. And Kansas Snow.
We had lost a pin somewhere.
Well, Kansas goes right through the head and leaves a 3 and 2, but his opponent, Mike Poolen, leaves the 4 horsemen and the 1 in back. Tough shot for both opponents there.
Both very difficult to make. There's Kansas down. Okay. Importantly, he's just not going to have a bad frame here, Gary. Mike Poolen throws down the same thing. They both get out of trouble. There's Kansas looking for his 10. 10 it is.
But all match, Bill, it's been the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics chasing the New Hampshire All-Stars, but now the shoe is on the other foot, as New Hampshire All-Stars have to chase the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics. And they're running out of time to do it, as we only have 2 frames for each bowler left. 14 frames, Gary. That's 2 extra marks that they're going to have to get. They're going to have to get 2 more marks than Cape Breton. Cape Breton has 1 of those marks already, so that's 3 more marks they're going to have to get. That's right.
They've only got 9 boxes to get them. There's a nice ball by Kansas. Smooth. You can see the difference when he gets the ball down smoothly on the alley, Gary. Mike Poolen is answering the call. Pulls 3 out of the middle.
Right through the middle.
Kansas, the captain, team manager, can seal his own fate right here, I think, Gary, if you can make this. Misses to the left. Misses to the left. Mike Coleman throws down. Setting up a bad frame here. Gary's going to have a big out ball.
Yes. as Kansas could actually increase that lead by 3 or 4 pins without even getting a mark here.
Kansas gets a 10. Mike Pullen gets an 8. Okay, Gary, I make it plus 16 for
16 pins.
Snows, Cape Breton, Air Atlantics.
And Ali Ross getting up here, Bill, and Ali's he's been sharp the last 3 or 4. Actually, the whole string, Ali Ross has been sharp, but he's open on that mark here, and he'd be looking to put it over 20 pins with a big count on this pair.
Ali's been carrying the mail here. He's wide to the right, but 6 big pins on the spare puts him over 20, Gary.
22 pins. And Bill Gover here, Bill, he hasn't been on the top pin too much this last string. Once again, he misses the top pin.
Ali's throwing down, just narrowly missing. Big shot here for Billy Gover, Gary. Okay, he got himself out of trouble. Ali Ross throws down, takes off the head pin, 9 pin. Billy Gover takes a 9. So we have 1 box closer to the finish right now.
Yes, 7 frames left for each team. It's 22 pins in the difference. What an exciting semifinal match we have here.
Ali delivers. He's on the front one again. And there we have the 6, 10, 5 again. How many times have we seen that in this match, Gary? Billy Gover throws down, and there's Striker Billy doing this thing again.
Well, that's the first strike he's had since the second frame of the second string. Yes. Ali Ross, tough shot here. Ooh,
what
nice
a fantastic try, Gary. Now he'll hit that deadwood and just get the 2, Gary. There's no way he can make the spare after hitting those 2. So Ali, being the experienced bowler he was, he knew what he had to do, and he went to do it.
Big 10 for Ali, and a nice string of a 131 for Ali Ross. What a spot for it, eh? Yes. Well, you know, Billy Gover, he's got 1 strike. He'd be looking for the double right here.
We'll soon see. He's on the front one. And the Merchants don't really care if he gets a spare on it, Gary. It's the fact he didn't get the double. That was what counted.
That's right. But he's going to cut that deficit right down. He's almost going to cut it in half. He's went for 22 down to 12 pins. 12 pins, Bill. 6 frames left for each team. 3 bowlers left on each team. And each team has 1 mark open. And Walter McNeil, 90 in the 8th frame. A lot of pressure right here.
Okay, Walter's been one of the toughest bowlers in Nova Scotia as far as pressure situations, Gary, so you're not going to see Walter give any. Right in the 1-3 pocket. Look at the miss. 5-7. There's John Thomas throws down. He's got a 9-pin break. Cover it with wood, but it's hard to say whether it's a good wood or not, Gary. It looks all right, but we have it just a little different angle than what Steve Thomas is. They're consulting over there.
Yeah, I think they're debating whether to go play it on the left-hand side of the flat one or go on the red line of the other one.
Okay, there's a spare. 11 pins, Gary.
11 pins, and the team that's down 11 has an extra mark, which is the mark that
this could conceivably go down to the very last ball of the day, Gary.
$25,000 in prize money is what they're shooting for here. Unbelievable.
Walter throws down, a 9-pin drop. John Thomas throws down, a 9-pin drop. 2 pins in the difference, Gary.
2 pins. What a match we have here.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Both great spare breaks here. Walter throws down. His is in the pin. John Thomas throws down. Mind-boggling how that could skip around that, Gary. A look of disbelief on John Thomas's face. He can't understand how that didn't go.
Well, Bill, double deadwood. They've always said double deadwood. You never know what's going to happen. But I tell you what, a break for the Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantics. 3 pins overall. Three pins. Walter McNeil open on a big spare here.
3 pins in the difference, and Walter McNeil came through it. Just, like I say, very few tougher than Walter anywhere. Throws down on the front one. Hey! 9 times, Gary. Back up to 12. The big lift that New Hampshire got from John Thomas making that spare with 9 on it was just nullified by Walter McNeil.
Well, I get 13 pins, Bill. John Thomas only got a 9 in his last frame.
That extra pin fell, Gary. I see they've got it marked the strike. I missed it falling, so we're up to 13 pins. Steve Vadney goes off ahead of Tony White. Here's the other mark now coming up for Cape Breton Air Atlantics. Tony throws. He's in the middle. 7-8. 21-pin lead for Cape Breton Air Atlantic Merchants.
And Steve Vadney, 8-pin break in Deadwood, almost has to have this.
He delivers. It's going to be handy, and he caps it. Tony White has a spare break, Gary. Not an easy one, but nonetheless, it's an 8-pin break. A little wide to the right.
Well, Bill, it might be 21 pins, but New Hampshire All-Stars, both of their bowlers that are left the ball are both open on marks. Well, and you know, any one of them can throw a bomb on it, so this game is definitely not over.
Well, if they take 8 or 9, it's 19 pins, Gary. If they take 8 or 9 on it, it's only going to be a difference of 2 pins.
Yes. And I tell you, we've been treated to some excellent bowling, and I mean, you couldn't write it any better.
Gary, we've had everything happening here. Here's Steve Vadney. A strike on it, 9 pins. What a clutch ball that was, Gary. Bowling for $25,000, your team on the verge of extinction. Only a couple rabbits to pull out of the hat, and he pulls out a big jackrabbit with that strike. Tremendous. Tony White, wide to the right.
Okay. And not only the spare will strike on it, but Tony White's in danger of dropping a few pins here, too.
Gary, we've had so many ups and downs this match, it's impossible to predict where it's going from here.
Takes it down to 5 pins, Bill. And Steve Vadney has a chance to put his team in the lead with the 2 anchor bowlers coming up and Tim Lipke open on the big spare.
Well, bad position for Tony Leblanc to be in. Steady Steve right on the 1-3 pocket again, Gary. He's had an 8-pin drop, and the big thing is that they've got it in the teens now, which means Tony Leblanc's got a double mark, and Tim Lipke can't get anything. And the chances of Lipke not getting much are very, very slim.
That's for sure.
Steve Vadney takes the spare.
So what do you get it at? Is it plus 5 or
plus 15, Gary?
Let's get a little count here.
There was 5. Steve just got 10 on the mark. Tony Leblanc throws down, looking for... Okay, 8-pin drop. Timmy Lipke's open. On the front one, he throws a strike.
Big strike. Yes, it was only 5 pins, Bill. It's 15 pins now.
Okay.
15 pins now, and both bowlers are open. But you almost think Tony Leblanc has to have a double strike if they have any chance of winning. And you can hear the USA supporters in the background there.
What a great night for bowling, Gary, here at Heather Lanes in Sydney, Nova Scotia.
And this is only our first match. I mean, our next match, we got O'Loughlin's against Alfie's Club 57. Should be another excellent match.
Wide to left. Well, Gary, there's no way we can promise the folks home that the next match is going to be anywhere near as exciting as this, but don't bet on it. It could be even better.
That's for sure.
Okay. Tony Leblanc throwing down, just going to finish out the game now. What is Mr. Lipke? 124. 144 open, Gary. I think he's going somewhere at a 150 clip, 450 clip.
Yeah, I would figure he's about 450 plus right at this moment. And some clutch bowling really by New Hampshire. Just unbelievable.
Okay, the folks giving all the bowlers a big round of applause. Gary, a standing ovation where cameras can catch the folks in the back standing. Everybody up on their feet, clapping for both teams. What a bowling performance here.
That's for sure. And Tim Lipke is going to throw the last ball of this match.
Timmy, 144 open. Players on both teams embracing, congratulating each other. Look at this, another 9-pin drop. Just about another double
9. And we'll get the totals, Bill. And Tim Lipke, with that 9 on it, he must have had somewhere around a 460 triple. Just incredible bowling. I mean, New Hampshire had the match all the way, right to the last string. Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantic came back. I mean, full marks at Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantic came back. They actually took the lead, and if not for some clutch bowling by Steve Vadney and Tim Lipke, Cape Breton Merchant Air Atlantic would still be in this.
You're right, Gary. It was so exciting, but I think we missed an important part of the match. When it was all over, Tim Lipke came over and he gave Kansas Snow a big, huge bear hug. And I don't know if he slipped him a kiss or not, but so much emotion, so much good feeling between the guys. They're playing for $25,000, but the sportsman shone through. Everybody was shaking hands, congratulating each other. A great start and a great finish to our first match, Gary. Now,
that's right. And as we stated, our next match, we're going to have O'Loughlin's from Massachusetts against Alfie's Club 57. And that'll be the final match in their right division. And as New Hampshire All-Stars, they're going to bowl against Maine Heat in the championship match in the left division. But we'll get the scores up here and see just exactly what kind of triples we had in this match.
You're right, Gary. Great individual efforts by Tony LeBlanc. Great individual effort by Tim Lipke. Ali Ross bowled superb. He needed to give the boys a spark, and what we did. Now, we've got a score up here now, 457 for Tim Lipke. Gary, can you imagine, right here live on Cable 10?
You got to look at Steve Vadney, 385, but I think the two biggest marks Steve Vadney got, I don't know if it's in his life or what, but he got big spear strike coming home, the last ring, and that was really the difference in the match, Bill.
Well, he was there. His team was down, Gary. He got a spare, he got a strike, and he got another spare. How could you ask for more than that?
Well, you look on the other side of the coin, Tony LeBlanc, 439, excellent bowling. Ali Ross, 374. Timmy Kerrigan, even though he came out that last sheet, 364. 1868, you know, nothing to be ashamed about by no means. I mean, that's an average of, what, 620 a sheet. But New Hampshire All-Stars, 1903, just incredible bowling. I tell you, New Hampshire All-Stars are going to be tough in this World's Championship.
1868 against 1903, Gary. Both of them were, you know, unheard of scores a couple of years ago, and you could never imagine losing with an 1868, and here you are, 1868, and 35 pins in the difference, and it was down. Both teams had the lead throughout the, I shouldn't say throughout the game. New Hampshire held it for most of the first two strings, and the third string, what happens? Cape Breton Merchants, they roar back. They take a plus lead, marks up ahead, look like they got it in the bag, and then steady Steve Vadney comes out, and he does the job.
That's right. So this has been our first match of this competition. As we stated, our next show will have O'Loughlin's from Massachusetts bowling against Alfie's Club 57. They're bowling for the championship in the right division. Now, the next match after that, we will have New Hampshire All-Stars bowling against Maine Heat. The winner of that will bowl the winner of the previous match for the World's Candlepin Bowling Championship. So we're going to wrap it up here. On behalf of Bill Hearn, I'm Gary Roscoe. Thank you for watching. We'll hope you tune in for our next match.